here with a few of the boys from the UFO community. So I'm going to let the guys explain to you a bit about what they're doing. But there's been some exciting breakthroughs, well, recently, isn't there, with the Pentagon admitting that there's otherworldly craft and what have you. So I'm going to introduce Emlyn now first. So tell us a bit about...
I'm Emlyn Williams. I'm with the Swansea UFO Network. On my left is Mike Maunder from the Swansea UFO Network.
How are you doing, Mike?
How are you doing, Sean?
And
good.
Through the miracle of modern science is Jonathan Davies over in rural Gwent.
How are you doing, John?
He's from the
Swansea. Yeah, I'm very well. Thanks, Sean. Thanks for having us all here.
Hey, it's my pleasure. I'm interested in this subject. I said to you earlier, it captivated me from looking into the Roswell incidents, and then you've got the Bob Lazar, and basically there's been a lot of sightings. I saw something myself recently, and I took a video of it. I shared that with you. And it's easy for people to pick it apart, isn't it? When they like, oh, it's pixelated. It's like, yeah, but when you see it with your eyes, it's a different thing. Yeah. You know you're seeing something that's not moving like a plane or a helium balloon.
Yeah, when you tell people that, all they've got is your testimony.
Exactly.
And you can't prove it. They just got to take your word for it.
Yeah.
It's, we always look at what possibilities, what they could be, rather than what we think they should be.
Yeah.
Helicopters, satellites, meteors, Chinese lanterns, all sorts of things. Drones now.
Yeah,
before we go too far, guys. Mike, I can't see your face. That microphone's right in front of your face.
Yeah, more, but maybe push it to the side.
That's it. Perfect. Right back.
Is it picking your sound up all right?
Yeah, it seems to be. I can hear myself.
Yeah. So tell us a bit about what you do then, John.
I'm an experiencer. I've been in this obviously since I was a child. I've always seen things.
Yeah.
I've recently joined the SUFON team. The guys invited me in. I've obviously heard about a case or two that I've posted up to them in the past, and Emlyn and Mike got in contact, and I've joined the team. But I mean, I can talk about some of my experiences if you like.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, when I was a child, I would see orbs. Orbs are basically like orange plasma type objects. They can be all sorts of sizes, tennis ball sizes, all the way up to a large moon type size, or a hot air balloon is a better description of size.
Yeah.
I see all three different colors of those. Normally I see orange is the normal color, but I also see, more recently I've been seeing red and white orbs. They seem to have changed in the last 6 months. I'm not sure why. I've always seen large orange orbs up until that point. So when I was a child, carry on.
Are you seeing them in the sky then, or?
Yeah, when I was a child, I would see them about tennis ball size, and they would be about 100 meters away from me. They would just literally, I lived in the countryside, and they would literally just follow me around. I would see them. Initially I would point them out to my school friends, when I was a kid, and I would get ridiculed because they couldn't see them. I would be the only one that could see them, and it became an issue for me, and I didn't really speak of it. It was a taboo subject for me. I didn't speak to my parents about what I would see. I didn't mention it again to my friends. I mean, I literally would see these things and keep it to myself. What I found was it made me feel a bit strange, and apart from my friends, so I would go off on my own and be a bit of a loner, and these things would follow me around. Like I say, I lived in the countryside, and I'd go off into the fields, into the corn fields, and I'd be walking through the middle of the field, and these things would be on the edges of the field, just always around me, as if they were keeping an eye on me, type thing. It was, quite a strange relationship. Never any contact, never any messages, but always near, if you like. When I was 13, I was in the woods. When I used to go into the woods, these things would change from a white color orb to
Yeah.
red. They'd always change. I don't know why, but they'd always change to red. And he used to comfort me. You're on your own in the middle of a forest, but I knew I was never alone because these things were always there. I was never alone. It was quite strange. But the one time when I was 13, I collapsed in the woods, and I had an appendicitis incident. My appendix was about to burst, and I was literally on the floor in absolute agony. And these things were all around my head. Literally, I don't know, 6 or 7 of these things would literally just be swirling around my head. I'd never had that many. They would normally be in 3s at the most. So this was unusual in itself. I don't know whether it was down to the pain or why they suddenly turned up, but I wasn't paying them that much attention, to be honest. Like I said, I used to see them all the time, so it was pretty normal. It's just that they were a lot closer on this occasion. And anyway, I got myself home, crawled home in agony, and I had my appendix taken out that night in hospital within a few hours. And I never saw the small orbs again, which is strange because a lot of people report seeing the small orbs. People like Christopher Bledsoe will see the small orbs, and those are the ones he sees more often than anything. They'll come down to it. He tells me they come down in the trees. I don't really see that. I tend to see large orbs now, and only large orbs, about the size of a transit van. That's the normal sort of size that I see, and they normally travel in 3s. I'll see three orange orbs. So I'll give you a picture. This isn't actually a real picture. It's an illustration that Chris Bledsoe did, but it's something that he said he saw. But this is exactly what I see. So I'll show you this. So if you can see that, that'll give you an idea of the sort of size. If you look at the size of the tree, it'll give you an indication of the sort of size, and that is absolutely identical to what I see when I say I see 3 orbs. So that'll give you an idea. That'll tell your audience what they are, as what they look like as well. So.
No, it's a good indication, that is, because obviously when you're trying to explain it, I was thinking, how far away is it? Like, are they close?
That's the sort of distance as a norm that they normally are to me as well. That sort of I put it back and I'll give you an indication. I can, they're big. You'd think everyone in the area would be able to see something like that.
Well,
they don't get reported. So when I see them every. I mean, saying I haven't seen them now for about 5 months like that. It's strange. Normally it's about every 3 months. So it's been a while since I've seen them now. So you watch in the next couple of days, I'll probably see them because that's what tends to happen. But no, I've said that. But that's what the orbs look like. So that was that incident. Then when I was 15, I basically found myself in a field miles from home, say 1.5 miles from home. No memory of how I got there. And literally looking up at the sky. I mean, the guys can talk about this incident. This incident took place on the 19th of January, 1983, and has become known as the Night of the Triangle. So if I describe what I saw, and then if you can ask the guys then to describe what the Night of the Triangles is. Yeah. So
that's the year I was born as well.
All right. Oh, now you're making us feel old.
So tell us a bit about that.
Okay, so I'm literally in a field. It's freezing cold. 19th of January in the UK for your international listeners is winter in the UK. I'm in a t-shirt and jeans. I'm looking up at the sky, and as I'm looking at the sky, let me see my hands here. The whole sky just moved. It just literally moved, and I'm talking the whole sky, not a little part of the sky. It wasn't the sky at all. It was basically, if you know anything about the Phoenix Lights incident in America, where there was miles wide craft reported, a wedge-shaped craft like a boomerang type shaft. This is exactly what this was. I mean, it was either 1 or it was 3. I'm not sure because they were all. It was. I think it was 3, and they were all very close together. I call it inverted, by the way. I'm not sure if that's the right word. They were all, all very close together. Anyway, so the sky moves. This thing is heading towards Newport. It's all white lights, small white lights, unlike the Phoenix Lights, where they're large white lights that are seen. These were all small, but lots of them, hundreds of lights, you know, so 2 rows that made up the shape of a boomerang. Okay. And they're all white. So this thing moves away, and I'm stood in a field, and it's like I'm in a bubble. Like the rest of the world, I'm not a part of the rest of the world type thing. You know, it's like I'm shut off from everything, and all I'm doing is looking at this thing. But then as soon as it starts to move, I come out of this bubble, and I'm freezing cold.
You froze then.
I
You
froze,
froze then for a few seconds. Yeah.
Okay, which bit did I miss?
As you said, shut off.
You shut off.
As you said, shut off, it froze.
And as he said froze, you said, I'm freezing cold.
You did, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so this thing moved. This thing. I'm in the bubble. Yeah. I'm completely unaware of anything else around me apart from this thing in the sky I'm looking at. Yeah. So it basically starts to move away very, very, very slowly. I mean, it should fall out of the sky. There was no engine noise.
No.
There was no nothing. And it's so gigantic. I'm talking miles wide. You know, to my left, I couldn't see the end of it. To the right, I couldn't see the end of it. Yeah. And I know that, and I knew the area where I was, so I knew the sort of distances involved that this thing was covering. So it was literally miles wide. The whole of Wales should have been able to see this thing because it was so high up. You know, you should have been able to see it from Swansea, or even though I was in Newport at the time.
Yeah.
Okay? So anyway, this thing starts to move away. I'm in this bubble. As soon as it starts to move away, I become aware of my surroundings. I'm in a field that I know because I look to my right, and there's a leisure centre in the area where I lived on this council estate. Yeah. And, you know, I could see the lights of the leisure centre in the night. Yeah. And all around has got like a low mist, but quite an eerie mist. You know, you see horror films and stuff, and there's mist. That's exactly what it was like. It was eerie, you know. Yeah. But there was a river behind me, or a stream behind me, that was probably giving off this mist. So I don't think it was anything to do with anything this object had done. You know, don't get me wrong.
It was just the moment it was eerie.
Yeah, yeah. So I literally look back now and I watch this thing, and this thing is now over Newport. You know, it's gone that far away. It's still huge to me. So, I mean, it still seems close, but it's probably over Newport at this point when I'm looking at it. So I literally, I'm freezing cold. I look at my surroundings and I think I got no realization of what I'm doing there. I've got no memory of the whole day, or in fact, the day before. So I just pegged it home. I thought I'm gonna get out of here. This suddenly feels, you know, I didn't feel comfortable. So I literally run home. I run all the way through this housing estate. It's a busy housing estate. So, I mean, normally you would see lots of cars, lots of people. It's the sort of place where everyone stands outside and discusses, you know, in those days, you know, people did used to stand outside and talk. I don't know whether it's like that in Swansea, but we used to. It was quite a nice community, you know.
Not like now.
Yeah, well, it's the way we used to have it. So anyway, I run all the way home. I don't see a car. I don't see a person, but the lights are on in the homes and all the curtains are shut. So I'm taking it. It's late evening. Yeah, I didn't have a watch. So I get home and I get to the front door and I think, I'm going to be in trouble. So with my parents, you know, because I got no memory of the whole day. So I might have done something, is my thinking. So I'll go around the back of the house. And what I used to do when I was a kid is, when I was naughty, I'd go around the back of the house and I go in through the garden and climb up the drain pipe of the house and get in through the bathroom window. So that's exactly what I did. I literally went around the house, into the forest, into the garden, into the house, climbed in through the bathroom window, went to bed, and woke up in the morning, ready for school, and expected when I got downstairs that I was going to get some grief off my parents about the previous day, because I still had no memory of that day or the day before.
Yeah.
But when I went down, my parents didn't say a word to me, apart from my mum saying, why didn't I clean my rugby boots after I played rugby the previous day? That's all she said to me. But that was what told me the dates.
Yeah.
I worked out them from the night of the triangles, which I'd found out about later on from somebody else on Twitter, because I didn't know the guys at that point or anything about the night of the triangles. Yeah, but I worked out the dates. From that was a Wednesday, so the 19th was a Wednesday, and we moved home a couple of weeks later. So I knew again those were the dates. That's how I worked it out. But anyway, my parents didn't say a word. Okay, so as far as I was concerned, I got away with it, and whatever it was, and I was, I was confused by it, but I wasn't willing to get in trouble.
Yeah.
I didn't want to get in trouble, so I never said a word to my parents. Never said a thing until about maybe a year ago, maybe just over a year ago now. To my mum. My dad's died now since, but I said to my mum about it, and she didn't have a clue what I was talking about. There obviously wasn't anything. She didn't know. I must have gone to school because I played rugby.
Yeah.
So I whatever I was after I got home from school, I must have got changed because I wasn't in my school uniform. But I've got no memory of being. People say there's missing time there. So yeah, there does seem to be a bit of missing time, but I don't know how much missing time. Maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours. I don't know. I haven't got a clue. But I've got no memory being on board anything or anything like that. So don't ask me what was on board the ship because I haven't got a clue. Not a clue.
So his memory's been wiped for that time.
Yeah.
But they've sort of overdone it a bit. They've taken it a bit further back, haven't they?
Yeah.
They've wiped
I
out.
lost the day before as well. I've got no memory of that.
Yeah, that's it's almost like they've taken a bit too much off the hard drive, and then you've lost a bit of time. You're thinking, well, where was I? Well, what was I doing yesterday?
Not just during that incident, but in his normal day-to-day activity before it as well.
Yeah, no memory of it at all. I mean, I still haven't. I'm telling you the bits I can remember from the day, but I can't remember afterwards. When I can remember seeing the object. I remember going home. I can remember the next day onwards. And that's it.
And on this particular day, there was this massive UFO triangle UFO sighting that went on. How many people saw that? Sightings.
Multiple. At the same times. Sometimes two different places.
Yeah.
Crafts were seen by multiple witnesses.
Some saw one craft, or some saw 2 or 3.
Yeah.
But they were all different in sizes.
All in the same evening.
From massive to small.
From about 5 o'clock in the afternoon till 8 p.m.
From roughly go sign away all the way up to Cardiff
and Newport.
And
it's a big area.
With the Tidville, we tracked down quite a few of the witnesses, and we videoed interviews with them, which are on YouTube if anybody want to have a look.
Is it? Yeah. Where can they find that?
On YouTube, just put in Swansea UFO Network.
Swansea UFO Network.
Night of the Triangles, we've called it.
So get on there and check that out, guys. I'll be checking that out later now.
It's about 8 videos, 8 or 9 triangles.
Interesting point. John said he was in sort of like a bubble.
Yeah.
He wasn't like part of the world. It was all, like you said, he was all quiet, and you didn't feel cold.
No, it was like I was separate from the world. It was total silence. There was no noise from this object, and yet there was no noise around me at all.
Well, there were two other witnesses, two separate witnesses on this particular evening, experienced the same sort of thing, where they were sort of in some kind of bubble. Or Jenny Randall's interviewed a lady in Cardiff.
Yeah.
Jenny Randall's called it the Oz factor, because she's encountered this sort of phenomena with other witnesses in the past.
Yeah.
Where they sort of disjointed from the normal world.
Yeah.
Disconnected, rather. And the Oz factor, Jenny Randall's has called it. So maybe
that's what you experienced.
We have got we interviewed a girl called Natalie Bowden.
Yeah.
She was
on
the other one
Triangles.
In Swansea.
It's very similar experience to what John was talking about. Very, very similar.
I saw that video afterwards, after we did the interview with me, because you hinted at that to me, didn't you, Mike? And I didn't know what you were talking about. And I went through all the videos on your website, and I found that, and she shocked me. That was the lady that was sat down, wasn't it? And they brought her family outside to see it. Yeah. That is well worth watching, that one.
Sister and stepdad were sort of like not fazed by it. They sort of disinterested by what was going on.
What, her sister?
Her sister and the stepdad,
So they weren't that
Yeah. It was in Beechwood Road in Uplands in Swansea. And there was this huge craft hovering above the road, and other people in the street were looking as well. And Natalie said it was all very quiet. You could hear a pin drop, and it wasn't cold.
Yeah.
Even for January, she just wasn't cold. The stepdad and sister came out to have a look. They were there for a little bit, and then stepdad said, "Oh, I've enough. I'm going in."
It's weird, isn't it?
It was craft hovering by the road.
It's almost like they telepathically just telling you go in.
Yeah,
go in. Like
he went in, and his sister followed him in a sort of like an automaton walk-in way, which is strange. But Natalie felt that she was meant to see it, which is why she went out. Originally, she was watching TV, and she just suddenly had an urge to go outside. Anyway,
it was calling.
She wanted to see it go. You know, what was it going to do? Was it going to fly off? She just wanted to witness it. What was it going to do? All of a sudden, it wasn't there anymore. It had gone.
Didn't even see it go.
And it was cold.
There's no one else on the street.
The other people in the street had gone. So missing time. Very strange.
It's mad.
It just suddenly wasn't there anymore. So some of her memory had been wiped out.
Yeah, they say I've watched loads of people talking about sightings, and a lot of them they seem to say about like a sort of static energy to it. There's a bit. It's like some sort of energy field that a lot of them talk about. It's like a
interview recently said that like a static and charge in the air.
That's a new witness.
Refresh my memory, Mike.
And that's Paul Winston.
Oh yeah, that's one. Yeah, can't talk about that one.
No, can't talk about it.
We haven't released it yet.
Right. Well, that's one to look out for.
Bare bones, guy in the bed. He woke up. His wife was at the window. She woke him up. What's happening? What's happening? She said it was like a static charge in the air.
Yeah,
like the house was vibrating on some sort of like high or low frequency.
Yeah,
and it was a strange sound as well.
Because that's another thing is with these, these vibrations and like, have you seen the mandala effects that are created with the vibrations with sand and sound waves? It creates the most magnificent patterns you can ever imagine.
And they remind me of a lot of the crops.
Yeah, it is.
Produce.
It's
which a lot can be attributed to people hoaxing them. But
have you heard many people talking about sort of the link with psychedelics and like, have you heard of dimethyltryptamine, DMT? Now I've done that, and once you do that,
you just go into
anything is possible. Like the stuff you see, and you feel like there's an alien presence that's trying to communicate with you without words. And it's showing you things. It's teaching you things. That is almost, it feels like it's passing you information, like you're downloading information. It's so weird.
Yes.
And now I've done it 3 times. I've done it, and every single time has been a different experience. But when you do that, it's almost like that is what the information we're missing. But we can't take it all in.
We only use a small part of our brain, don't we?
Yeah.
Most of our brain isn't used.
Yeah.
On a subconscious level, it's active.
I'm a control freak, so I could never do that. I mean, I've got enough experiences going on that I'm not going to enhance it even more. You know,
it's unbelievable. It is. It's obviously it's not for everybody.
Some people have got more psychic abilities than others. We've all got it, but more than others. I think with John, he's of the lucky proportion of percentage of people that can
see more.
They seem to see UFOs where I never see anything.
Yeah,
but it's part of his brain. He's more perceptive.
Yeah,
he's more switched on than some other people. Quite often Steve, our colleague Steve Drewson, when we meet witnesses, he always asks a question. In the past, do you have any psychic ability? Do you see ghosts or hear things or whatever? And quite often they say, yeah, I am sort of like tuned in.
Yeah.
To the
psychically wise.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing to say that people have got an ability to see something that other people haven't, because you look at all the animals in the world, all their different abilities, their senses, their sense of smell.
Yeah.
It's all so different, you know. And when you look at evolution of how far we've come in evolution, there's obviously some people who are going to be harnessing some capabilities that others haven't.
Yeah, and some animals see things in black and white, don't they?
Yeah.
They don't see colors.
Yeah.
Like cats can see.
They can see like infrared in the dark, and the heat. Some animals can sense the heat.
Butterflies see ultraviolet light.
Yeah.
You do tend to find that somebody who's had a profound close encounter or possibly an abductee.
Yeah.
They do come back and they have
more than one.
Yeah.
They come back and they have they can perhaps be psychic, or they know certain things.
Yeah,
there's something.
We know a guy from Newport, funny enough, from Newport.
Yeah.
He was on the way to Cornwall. He goes by the name of David Stone. He doesn't want his normal name out there.
Yeah.
He was on the way to Cornwall one night with his family and two daughters for a holiday, and they were taken on board a craft while they were on the M5.
Yeah.
And the M5 abduction is called. And
is it?
He had quite a, at the time, horrific experience, what he's recollected. But when they came back, he's got more of a like psychic abilities, and his daughters are very, very clever in school. In fact, they were teaching the teachers.
Oh my God.
Amazing, artistic.
My daughter is as well.
Yeah.
That's mad, isn't it?
She's almost genius. She's brilliant. She's brilliant at every subject. Every subject. It shocks the hell out of the teachers.
Yeah.
It makes you think, though, doesn't it? If because they reckon that's how humans have got to where they are, by being tweaked by alien life.
Upgrades, they call it.
You know.
Download things.
You know, like would we really be where we are? Because that's what they say, and they reckon that the obviously the Neanderthals were eating like mushrooms and getting things from magic mushrooms then, which were creating visions which they never would have thought of for creativity and making things. And so, you know,
very much on the line of shamans and tell you one who, I can't, Carlos Castaneda.
Yeah.
Have you looked into him at all?
No.
I will look into him.
Is it?
He did all sorts of natural magical things.
Yeah.
Like DMT.
It's all natural. Ayahuasca,
yeah. He goes off into a different dimension.
Yeah, it does. And it opens up doorways to, I mean, once you experience some of those things, that's what makes you realize like anything is possible.
Yeah.
You know, these people who are just so single-minded to just think, there's nothing else. How can you say there's nothing else out there in an infinite amount of space with an infinite amount of planets? And it's impossible.
Not only that, it goes sideways as well. We've got parallel dimensions.
Yeah, other dimensions.
What we call the spirit world is another dimension.
Yeah.
And UFO activity and paranormal experiences do
falling off your head all the time.
They do overlap.
Yeah.
There is a big overlap. And I think these doorways and portals and things can go back and forth.
Yeah.
Because they say, no, we can't be being visited by aliens because it's too far to come.
Yeah.
You know? Things that, they take too long to get there.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that they travel interdimensionally. They sort of like wormholes, they call it, or through portals.
And they pop in and out.
You can travel vast distances instantly.
Yeah.
And Swansea is a top spot for it. An absolute top. We know that there's a huge magnetic anomaly in the Swansea and Gower area in South Wales. It stretches up into the Brecon Beacons as well,
which is another place where there's been a lot of activity.
Yeah.
Because you look at all of these prime, like the Egyptian pyramids and the Chichen Itza, they've all been built on a place which has got a really high magnetic field. Now, how would they have known to build that then without any technology?
Yeah.
you know, and the alignments with the stars, the star formations, you know, these are people that they're saying didn't have technology.
When I was living down in the North Gower area, I would say, like I say, I'm experienced. So I've seen things all the time, you know. But you know, every couple of weeks I will normally see something. But when I was living down there, it was intense.
Yeah,
I would see things every other day. You know, literally, I just carry up. It's normal for me, you know. And I know a lot of people find that hard to grasp, you know. But I would be sat at my desk and I would just see a cigar-shaped object go straight in the sky above.
yeah.
I'd see things literally all the time down there.
That's
I
mad.
lived in Landymore on the North Gower, so to give you an idea of where I was living at the time, on the opposite coast of the Natalie, you know.
Yeah.
Like an estuary.
Yeah, right in the. I can never say that word. Lucker estuary. Yeah.
I know. I struggle with a lot of the Welsh words myself.
But as it happens, we do have quite a lot of sightings, you know, around that area that John's talking about.
Is there?
You know, so backs it up with what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Do you want to tell us about that?
Landon,
Yeah, tell us about that.
He's leading his way in.
Oh yeah, all right.
Yeah.
So 7th of October 2010, I'm living at that location, Landymore. Lived in a house called The Barn. If anyone knows the area, it's the top house in the village, the very first house as you enter Landymore village on top of the hill. It's between 8 and 9 in the evening, and I'm downstairs in the TV room with my daughter, who at that time was 2 years old. My wife is upstairs having a shower. She'd been looking after my daughter all day. I work from home. So I've literally just finished work and now I'm looking after my daughter. So we sat in the TV room. It's dark, and my daughter goes over by the conservatory windows and she points outside and she says bright. She's 2 years old. She wasn't really speaking that much. So the first thing for me was, oh, great. That's a great word to know. Bright. You know, I was impressed she knew the word, was the first thing. So then I walk over to the window and I look out, and my neighbour to my left, going down the hill, has got a tennis court. And to the right-hand back corner of that is a tall tree. And remember, I'm on top of a hill. So I'm looking now down slightly, but level with this tree is, I'll show you what I saw. It is that. Okay. Ignore the part on the right. That's camera shake. It was camera shake.
Oh, right.
It was literally all orange, egg shaped. Okay.
So that's the actual picture.
Yeah, that's the actual picture. Yeah.
You took a few, didn't you, John?
Yeah, I took a lot. So that object is right next to the tree. And as I'm looking at that, I mean, I've seen these things before, don't get me wrong, but that was a big one and it was a lot closer than they normally come to me. This was, you know, very close in the next door neighbor's garden, you know. So this object then shoots down. Remember, I'm on top of the hill. It shoots down half a mile onto the track that comes from Weobley Castle. If anyone knows the area, again, it's got Weobley Castle on the Gower. And they've got a track that goes out into the Lucker Estuary, where all the sheep grazing and stuff, the salt marsh lamb are. The farmer goes out there every now and then, looks after his sheep. Okay, so this thing shoots down to the track. I think it's crashed. I didn't know the area at the time. You know, I just knew that track was there, and I literally, if I'd have blinked, I would have missed it.
Yeah.
If you know anything about the speed they've talked about, the Tic Tac objects or the Nimitz encounter, you know, they were, you know, 80,000 miles an hour or whatever they've said they were.
Yeah.
That was the sort of speed this was. I literally would not have seen it if I'd have blinked. It went boom, straight. So I thought it was a crash. So I was like, wow. As soon as this thing gets to the ground, there are massive flashes of color. Different color, like a lighthouse, really, really, really bright. He's like, boom, you know, into your face. It looked like they were directed at me. That was the impression I got.
Yeah,
I mean, it might have been to the whole area. I don't know, but it felt like they were being directed directly at me. These flashes of light, all different colors. You know, 5 or 6 different colors. This went on for like 5 minutes, and then I thought to myself, I better get this. I just bought a camera a few days previously. Literally, and I had a big set of binoculars. So I ran down my office where I had these, I grabbed them, come back up, and I've got my binoculars, and I'm having a better look. And again, these massive flashes, I'm taking my eyes away from the binoculars because it was hurting my eyes. That's how bright these flashes of light were. Even though it was half a mile away, it was still like as if it was next to me. That's how bright it was. So the camera, like I say, it was brand new. I bought it for my business. I was selling products on the internet, and I needed a camera to take product pictures. And it literally turned up 2 days previous. I put batteries in it. I turned it on. That was it. I hadn't tested it. I didn't know how to use it. So, I'm using a camera now. I better take some pictures, but I didn't know what I was doing. So I've overexposed all of the pictures, unfortunately, because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know until the next day that it had a video function on the camera, or you would have seen the most amazing video you'd ever seen in your life, because that's what this event was like. So anyway, I'm snapping away, and I've now got the window open on the conservatory. Now I've got the camera, and there's no sound. It's freezing cold because it's in the evening, and we're on the coast. There's a strong cold wind coming into the bloody window. I'm freezing to death. So, but I'm watching all this, and as I'm watching that, another object starts coming in from between Buryport and Llanelli. There's cloud above. You can't see the stars, so this thing is below cloud level. It's not that high above Llanelli and Buryport. This object, it looks like the moon. I took a picture of that. There you go. That's what it looked like. Green tinge, gassy effect to it. So you get an idea. That thing is opposite me. This other object's in the middle, and so we're all in a line, sort of thing. It stops. That object stops above Llanelli or Buryport, whichever one it was, and it doesn't do anything. It just seems to get closer and closer, and then stops. It just stays there. Doesn't do anything else. Then I can hear. There's to my right, obviously, is Gowerton. To the north, at the other end of the estuary where all the boats are, the harbour, and I can hear what sounds like a Chinook helicopter, a twin rotor helicopter. Chinooks look. We hear them all the time in Wales, don't we? South Wales. So a big Chinook helicopter, and I can see two lights. They're not flashing; they're fixed lights, red and white, and it's a very low helicopter, and it starts coming in now towards this object that's landed on the ground. The flashing of the lights on that object had calmed down a little bit. Every now and then it would go all completely black. I couldn't see it. There'd be no lights. But then it eventually went to a steady blue. Anyway, this helicopter gets all the way up to within 150 foot maybe of this. That's a guess, obviously, of this object on the ground. There's a light that passes between them. And as soon as that happens, I see this light. The helicopter just vanished. The sound of the helicopter vanished. And you can imagine now it's quite close to me, so it's really loud, so something to disappear and for the sound to go. That was the point. And I was thinking at this point, am I being stupid? And is this is this a rescue operation by the RAF, or there was the police or something like that? But as soon as this helicopter vanished, I knew this was strange. This was I was back to my first. It was an orb. This is a craft of some sort, and this this helicopter is not really a helicopter, or it's a hologram or something like that, a fake helicopter. And I've developed those theories over the years by researching more. But anyway, this helicopter vanished, and as soon as it vanished, it was back at the point where it had originally started near Gowerton, and the same thing happened all over again. It came all the way in, shone that little light, vanished. Sound gone again. 8 or 9 times this happened.
Just repeated itself
constantly, like a movie.
That's fucking crazy, isn't it?
Absolutely crazy. Okay, so I'm watching all that. That light is still there above Gowerton, and then to my left, I haven't been looking to my left because I've been watching all this going on and snapping pictures. But to my left, this is all over the space of an hour. It's not like a 10-minute thing. This is an ongoing, took a while. The helicopter, they keep coming back and forth, and this object is on the ground. But anyway, an object starts coming in from the sea to my left, and that's an emerald green coloured object. I've got a picture of that. You can just about make out.
Looks like DNA.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
That is actually two objects. You can't. I don't know how good you can see it your side, but there's actually two objects in the center.
DNA, doesn't it?
Is that? It looks like a light trail. Is that camera shake?
Is that in the sea?
Yeah,
is
it's
it?
probably a bit of camera shaking. That is, there's no doubt about it. But what basically happened, and what is not captured on that picture, is this was a green object. The blue is now a blue object that's on the ground. That's the blue object.
So that was on the ground.
It's changed from that after the flashing of the different colors. As soon as the flashing of the colors stopped, it changed to that. Okay, so that is now on the ground, and I can see that all the time now. Basically, it's just sat there as a blue object. Okay, so the green emerald object has come in from the sea up to this blue object, and literally a light comes from the green emerald object. It sort of wraps itself around the blue object, and they both start moving to the left out to sea. Yeah, nice and low, didn't fly off or anything. It was like the only way to describe it, and I know it's a stupid analogy because people think I'm overreacting, but it was like Star Trek when they do a tractor beam and they shot a light and a light wraps around it, and then that's what it was like. It's no getting around it. That's about the only way I can describe it. So anyway, that goes out to sea. As soon as they start going out to sea, the helicopter vanished completely, never to return. The light above Natalie vanished, never to return. And I'm literally just watching this thing go out to sea, and I'm stood there and I'm thinking, I gotta talk to somebody. So I phoned the police.
Yeah.
Okay, so I phoned the police. I told them what I'd seen, and I'm thinking, are they going to tell me it's a police helicopter and there's the Coast Guard involved and stuff like that? Am I being stupid? Was what I thinking, but I knew I wasn't being stupid. I knew what I was thinking initially. This is UFOs. This was some sort of this thing was in trouble and it just got rescued. Whatever it was, those big flashes of light. Now I've thought about it over the years. I think that they were that was communication to their friends. Big flashes of light sent out, come and get us. We need help. Okay, that was my thinking. Now, so anyway, this thing's gone out to sea. I phoned the police. Nothing to do with us. The police say but keep us informed, and we'll let you know if anyone tells us anything. I mean, they did phone me back every week for weeks on end afterwards because they were so interested in the station. They told me whether or not I heard any more, but I didn't have anything more to tell them because I didn't really find out anymore. Anyway, so the next day, that night, I watched the news. There's nothing on the news. I mean, I'm thinking this is a major event. Why the hell is this not on the news? Everyone in the area should have been able to see this because of the flashes of light, the helicopters, everyone from Gowerton to, Landymore and all the places in between should have been able to see what went on. Nothing. There's no reports of it at all. There's nothing on the news. There's nothing on the radio. So that night I go to bed. And then the next day, that's all I can think about is what I've seen the previous day. I've got to know more. So I start phoning around. I phoned local Swansea Coast Guard. They said, no, there was not an operation going on, but try the Cornish Coast Guard. So I did. I phoned them. No, we didn't have anything going on because Swansea told me that Cornish Coast Guard sometimes did operations over there for some reason. I don't know why, but that's what they told me. Anyway, nothing with them. RAF Pembrey is on the direct opposite coastline. So I phoned them up, and the guy was like really pissy with me on the phone, like I was wasting his time, as they are with this subject, and didn't really want to, there's nothing to do with us. We shut at 5 o'clock, stop wasting our time type conversation. Nothing there. I phoned Swansea Airport. I knew Swansea Airport shut 5 o'clock, and I know it's commercial stuff anyway, and but I phoned them anyway. I thought, what if they'd seen something on radar? Maybe somebody had been there that night, or but no, they didn't know anything. I phoned the fire station. Who knows? Maybe it was if it was a crash, and I don't know. But I did. I phoned them. Nothing. So I wasn't getting anywhere. I phoned. No, I didn't phone. I then saw. No, the next day then, I then walked down the hill. I thought, I'm going to have a word with my neighbours. Maybe my neighbours have seen something. The trouble with that little village is it's mainly like a touristy place, and most of the neighbours are never there. They come for the summer months, and then there's never anyone there. So I saw one person that I'd seen before in the garden, a gentleman, and I showed him. I took my laptop because I put the pictures on there, and I took my laptop down and I literally showed him what I'd seen, and he didn't see a thing. They'd had the curtains shut. You know, why didn't he listen to the helicopter and have a look through the curtains? I was always thinking, you know, why?
Yeah.
You know, it didn't make any sense to me because it was so noisy. And the flashes of light, you'd think it would have gone through his curtain. That's how bright it was.
Yeah.
But no, you didn't see anything. I saw a lady who must have been a tourist because I'd never seen her before outside the house, and I showed her as well. And again, she hadn't seen anything. And I walked the rest of the village, and I didn't see anyone. And to be honest, I was embarrassed, you know, because am I being stupid now? I was thinking again because the other people hadn't seen anything. And anyway, I didn't get anywhere with that. So what happened then? I have put some notes down because I'm always getting confused with so many things happened that day. So give me a second. Oh yeah, so I went upstairs at one point, and this was all still going on, and I dragged my wife out of the shower because I was thinking this is a UFO, and I want another witness this time for a change, you know. So I literally went upstairs, grabbed my wife out of the shower. She's not interested in this subject at all, but so she looked through the binoculars, and I opened the window for her to have a look, and she had a quick look, literally a quick look, and she said, "Oh yeah, that's strange, but that's it." You know what I mean? And that's her interest in the topic there, and that's the end of it. You know, don't bother me again. And why the hell did you get me out the shower? Is it that's what she was about it? You know. So I just stood there while she's drying, and I carried on looking because I was up higher then because I'd gone upstairs to watch it, and I carried on watching it from upstairs for a bit longer before going back down with my daughter, you know, and then just watching it carry on going out to sea. Where else have I got? So give me a second.
The causeway.
So, so now the next day then I'm in work after I've been out. I go back to work. And I work from home, like I say, and my view was the point where this thing had landed in my home. Yeah. So I'm looking out now. I carry on my day's work and I'm looking out. As I'm looking out, I noticed there are two black vans parked in this very spot where this object had landed. And I'd never seen any black vans or anyone else out on the track apart from the farmer who had sheep out there. And I'd only ever seen him in 2 years, maybe 4 times. He never went out there. You know, it was very rare you'd see anyone out there. But there was 2 black vans the very next day parked there, and it was about 3 or 4, I'm not sure, guys literally going around the area with metal detectors, or what looked like metal detectors. There's certainly some sort of scanning. It could have been radiation things for all I know. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, because I'd left my binoculars and my camera at the top of the house, and because I just had, because I wasn't using them, and I didn't go up and get them, to be honest, because I was literally in the middle of a day's work and my business was really busy at that time. So, you know, I should have. I kick myself now that I didn't go back up and get the camera and take some pictures to prove the point. There were some black vans there, you know. But I went to the a couple of weeks later. I mean, I've got to go back in a minute and tell you more what happened in the following days. But I'll finish the point with the UFO side of things first. A couple of weeks later, I went to the local garage. There was nobody in there, so I took the chance to speak to the lady in there as well. Yeah. And I said, has anyone reported seeing anything on the marshes? And I told her what I'd seen again, and she said yes. A couple of weeks ago, some tourists were in here and told us they saw lights out on the marshes. And had we seen anything? And she said, no, I hadn't seen anything. So she didn't think anything of it, and she thought they were loopy. And but I didn't get anywhere with that because they're tourists, so they've gone. You know, so I couldn't get hold of them, so I had no witness without them. I said to my wife, we'd never been to that Weobley Castle, all in the 2 years we'd lived there, and I thought, I'm going to use the excuse, we'll go there as a day out. Let's go to the local castle. Yeah, my real reason for going to the castle was that I wanted to speak to the farmer, and ask him who those blokes were in the black vans that he had let out onto the marshes. Okay, so anyway, we went around the castle, and then I think from memory there was a marquee there or something like that. It was a coffee shop or somewhere there, and I think it was a marquee. We went in, and as we're in the marquee, I asked the lady behind the till again, how do I speak to the farmer? Yeah, you know, because the farm is on the castle. You know, it's at the same grounds. They look after the castle, and as it turned out, the farmer was sat having a coffee in the cafe. Okay.
Yeah.
So I couldn't believe my luck. You know, I thought, oh, fantastic. You know, it was meant to be, you know, that I come today of all days. So I speak to this guy, and I told him again what had happened. I said, I saw some black vans with these guys. And he looks at me with a puzzled expression and says, I have never let anyone out on those tracks. Nobody ever goes out on the track apart from me, and I don't go out there very often. So then he says, come with me. So he takes me and my wife down to the gate that locks, that goes across the castle. You go down the hill slightly and there's a gate.
Yeah.
And there's a padlock on there all rusted up. And he said, and there's a sign, no entry. And he said, there you go. Nobody goes out there. So I have no idea who these guys were in the black vans.
Yeah, years ago.
Yeah.
It's Llanryddion Marsh, and there's like a causeway, like an embankment built on top of the marsh. There's a track going right out into the marsh.
Yeah.
Because years ago, it was a firing range. They used to fire shells there from Crofty.
Oh, yeah.
Down the estuary. So there's lots of unexploded ordnance out there, probably.
Yeah.
But this track, you could, if you could open the gate, you could actually drive to the end of the embankment.
Yeah.
Right down to the marsh. So
I took a picture of the fake helicopter. I'll just show you some of the other pictures I took, guys, because we're obviously going on with the time here. So this was a picture of the fake helicopter. Obviously, it looks absolutely nothing like a fake helicopter. It's more like barrels or something.
Yeah.
Which is a bit of a strange one, and not the same lights that I could see either. So that doesn't make any sense. All I could see was a red and a white light. Yeah, and the sound of the helicopter. Then there was this as well. That was, obviously that's camera shake, but you get the idea. It's a bit strange again. Yeah. Other one.
It's mad, isn't it?
Other ones.
Winston.
They look like galaxies, some of them do, don't they? Like planet galaxies.
The Whirlpool thing, yeah.
So you can see there that was the orange orb, but behind it, that's the opposite coastline, the street lights on the opposite side of the coast. Okay, so they're buried to Port Natalie, to give you an idea. So those are some of the pictures. I took 60 plus pictures. Most of them are absolute rubbish, to be honest with you, or they haven't come out at all. The objects would suddenly disappear. Like I say, I'd take a picture and I'd think I'm about to get an amazing picture, and it would just be black on the actual pictures that I've got, because it's shut its lights off at the very moment that I've taken the picture.
What date was that? Did that occur?
7th of October 2010.
So it's not that long ago either. Like
2010 was very active.
2010, yeah.
My missus is
2010.
My missus is from Buryport. She's from up that way. She is.
I'd love to find another witness. You know what I mean? It's a killer for me that I have never been able to find another witness. I'll tell you, I posted it on a website called Above Top Secret at the time, because I couldn't find anywhere to put it, and a website called UK UFO or something like that, .co.uk. So I posted it on there, and there was one person on there that said that they had seen a similar thing while they were walking their dog. They'd seen through the houses, a gap in the houses, some strange lights on the marsh. So that's still on there, guys, if you ever want to get it off there and put it on the Sufon site. I noticed it's still on there. I noticed it a few months ago. I should have pointed it out to you. But on the ATS website, the Above Top Secret website, all I took was flack from people basically telling me that those are street lights, mate. Oh, that's a street light. Oh, that's fake. Yeah. Or it was either too good to be true, or it was rubbish. That was the sort of thing I was getting from them, and all I was doing was trying to explain. I had this amazing sighting. I had these pictures, and all I wanted to do was show them, and all I took was abuse. So I took myself off that website, never to return. I did a few weeks later contact Nick Pope, because I saw Nick Pope was involved with the Ministry of Defence at that time. Or he actually left. I didn't know that, but I found out that Nick Pope used to be involved with the Ministry of Defence. So I sent him an email, and I sent him all the raw pictures that I'd taken, and I said, what do you think of these? I was hoping he was going to come back and say they're amazing, and I'll find out about the radar for you and all this sort of stuff. He wasn't any help at all, apart from telling me that he was no longer involved with the Ministry of Defence, and my pictures were baffling and intriguing. but that was about all he could say about them because he didn't have the equipment to look into it any further, and because he was no longer involved in the Ministry of Defence. He told me to contact Bufora in the UK, who were like Sufon, that's what I was told. But they're obviously as useless as Sufon, because I contacted them and I never heard a word from them. They never came back to me. I mean, this is a landing case. You know, landing cases don't happen, guys, do they? They don't happen. It's rare, you know, and yet, you know, they weren't interested. You tell me why not? You know, a landing case in the UK, where are the landing cases? We've got Berwyn Mountains, we've got Rendlesham Forest.
I was going to for that one.
Know, so I'm not military. This is the problem. Nobody's interested in you. If you're not military, you're not an airline pilot, you're not a copper. You know, they're not interested in your story. It don't matter if you got pictures. It don't matter if you got a video. They're not interested. And that's what I learned. Okay. So I tried to tell the world. I didn't get anywhere with it. I took a 10-year period out of the subject because I'd had enough. You know, I tried my best and nobody was interested. And the only ones who were interested were giving me abuse. You know? So I took myself out of the subject. I never took another picture until recently. I bought some new cameras and I started having a go. What I'm finding is that when you try and take pictures, you don't get anything.
No.
Okay. When I'm blasé about this subject and I just go out and I'm out with my dogs and I haven't taken the cameras, they'll show up. Yeah. I don't know why that is. Okay. But even when I've got my camera and I've got, you know, I've done my best. I had an incident a few months back. I told the guys about it. I literally had a brand new Cyanx color night vision camera, and I'd already captured an orb with it the very first second that I turned the thing on. But I had another incident a month or so after that, and I was literally out. I spotted it, a red orb, a giant red orb below cloud level. Again, it was cloudy night, and it went straight over the top of my house. And I was outside with the dogs. I ran in and grabbed the camera. I come back out. I set it all up. I thought, oh my God, this is going to be as good as the one I missed down the Gower to be able to film. Okay, that's how good it was. It was an amazing one. All the clouds above it were all lit up from the red of the orb. I could see it all shine, all the light coming off it, you know. It's quite close to the cloud, but it was below the cloud. And the cloud was low, yeah. So I could see it perfectly. It was huge. And it literally went over my house and very slowly, completely red. There was no other, you know, I couldn't see any shape to it apart from like the orange, like that. It was like that, but red. Okay.
Yeah.
You get an idea. So anyway, it goes over and I film it. I've got the camera now. I'm filming it all. I'm checking it all the time now because I'm panicking now. I've got to get this. Finally, I'm going to get the most amazing video in the world. You know, the cows in the field. I'm in the countryside where I am on a farm, and the cows are all getting agitated by this thing going over, mooing, and you can hear them running around and stuff. So I got a tree into the picture so I could show the scale of it, and I'm going up and down to show the scale of it. I'm talking as I'm filming, so I'm describing what I'm seeing. It was all perfect. Red light is flashing on the camera to show that it's videoing it. Okay, I'm constantly looking at that as well because I'm panicking. This isn't going to film. Okay, it landed on the hillside, on the directly opposite where I'm sat now and looking. It literally landed on the hillside, and it was just sat there. And I'm filming, and it was there for ages and ages and ages. And to be honest with you, I got bored.
Yeah,
because I see them all the time. But not, this was a good one, I'll admit. But I turned the camera off. And I went inside and I thought, I'm going to have a watch of this now. This is going to be amazing. I'll put it on the big TV. I got it all set up. I've got a 65-inch telly up to my left of me where I am now. I'm going to put it on there and it's going to be amazing. Yeah. And then I'm going to show the world this most amazing thing that I've just seen. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I put it on. There's nothing on my camera.
I knew you were going to say, yeah.
Nothing. The SD card is empty. There's, in fact, the other things that I filmed, luckily I downloaded those, but everything else that was on there was blank. It was blank.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
And that's what they do. Okay, so when you take the most, you think you're going to get the most amazing picture, they'll either come out fuzzy, like they're in between dimensions or something, okay, or they'll wipe your camera and you won't get anything.
And
that's what happens.
A skeptic would be, oh, how convenient.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
you know,
I was gutted. I'll tell you now, I was beyond gutted because I knew that I had video evidence of one of the most amazing. It would have been. It wasn't as good as the Gower thing, you know, the landing, because there was 4 different things going on there. You know, helicopters vanishing. Imagine if I'd filmed that. You know, imagine where the world would have. You know, but this was still just as good, almost, because it was low. It was literally above my head. He was giving me a show. I'll go back to the Gower. I'll just tell you this quick. When I was down the Gower, the what else happened? So within a couple of days of the Thursday, the Saturday, I go to cut the grass. Okay, so I've seen the landing on the Thursday. I've gone to see the neighbours on the Friday. I've done my best to tell the world and find out about everything on the Friday. Didn't get anywhere. And then anyway, my wife goes shopping then on the Saturday, and I thought, I'm going to cut the grass. It's October. It's the last chance to cut the grass. So I'm taking my lawnmower across the gravel track from my house to the grass. And I had a robot lawnmower, it's remote controlled, and I was taking it across the drive. And as I'm doing that, I looked to my left, which was the east Newport direction. And I could see the same emerald object that had come into from the sea and collected the blue object and taken it out to sea is now coming towards my house. So I've got this emerald craft in the sky this time, not low to the sea, in the sky, coming towards my house, and it comes right above my barn. I had a long barn conversion. You can look it up on Google Earth. If you look at Landymore Village, first house, have a look. You know, you'll be able to see it's a long barn. And anyway, this object is now, I'm looking straight at this barn. I'm in front of the barn, the front of the property, and I'm looking up, and a few hundred feet at the most is this emerald object stops. So it's come all the way into my house and stopped directly opposite me and my house. It's in the middle of my house. Okay, so I'm looking at this thing now, and it's like shape shifting, but like light panels, if you like. That's the only way I can describe it. It's like moving lights panels, if you like, all around it. No shape to it because it's shifting. Okay. Yeah. So then there's no sound at all. There's none of this static you talked about. Yeah. I didn't hear. There was nothing like that. It was literally just there, and there was no sound, and I'm just open mouthed looking at this thing, gobsmacked, you know. So then, remember, I'm at the top of the hill, and the estuary's to my left. This thing shoots into the middle of the estuary at stupid speed again, and then takes an immediate, no banking. It takes a left turn, but there's no banking like a plane. It's like out, like that. Boom. You know what I mean? And as I'm watching that go out to sea, I've got my back to the east now. I'm watching this thing go out to sea, and it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller, going out in the distance. You know, I mean, like, oh my God. There's a whoosh above my head. I chuck myself to the floor. I'm on top of the lawnmower. And as I'm on the floor looking up, 2 fighter jets at the same height this thing had been just above my house, at a height that would damage the roof on my house. That's how low they were. Okay. Yeah. Shoot, like massive sound. You know, of 2 fighters. Imagine it, you know? Yeah. Straight out into the middle of the estuary. They take exactly the same path that this thing had taken, but they bank like a plane. Do you know what I mean? Not like a sharp left like this thing had taken. They have to bank, you know? But you could see the fight. You could see the missiles on the bottom of the fighter jets. They were literally chasing after this object. I'm on my own again. Okay. I've got no witness. Okay. I have my wife. She's not really a witness because, you know, if you spoke to a guy, she'd say, yeah, I saw the object in the estuary. That's all she'd say. All right. And that would be how much interest she's got. But on this day, I didn't, there was no witness to this. It was just me because she's taken my daughter shopping, and I'm literally in the garden cutting the grass, you know. But again, I watched the news thinking everyone's bound to have seen this one. You know, everyone's bound to have seen this emerald object and these fighter jets. Bound to have.
Did they hear the fighter jet? Nothing at all.
Nothing. Nobody. Nothing. Nothing on the news. Nothing on the radio. I went through the same process again all day, waiting for it to come up on the news. Nothing. And I just, to be honest, that was me done. All right. I didn't, you know, I'm thinking that's it. Well, there wasn't me done. No, because the very next day is the Sunday. I go up to Cambran we were living in the Gower, and then my family or my wife's family live in Cwmbran, near Newport, and we go up there every Sunday. We used to travel up for Sunday lunch. So we're going up there. We get by the fire station. I'm driving up. We get by the fire station. There's a set of traffic lights. Anyone can look if they want to have a look on Google Earth again. And as I'm sat in the front of the traffic lights, there's loads of people around. It's a perfectly blue, sunny day. Okay, there's not a cloud in the sky. And as I'm looking, I'm obsessed now because I've seen things all the time. So I looked up. And as I look to my right and up, there's a disc. All right. So there's a disc like Bob Lazar disc and all the other discs you've ever heard of. I've never seen a disc before, and I've never seen a disc since. But I saw a disc, and it was literally a dull-colored grey disc in the sky, just sat there, not doing anything. Okay, but perfectly blue sky, loads of people crossing the road, not a person taking a blind bit of interest.
Yeah.
There's a UFO in the sky above their heads, and not one of them is looking at it. So I'm going agitated with my wife. There's another one. Oh my God, and my daughter starts crying in the back of the car.
Did your wife see it?
My wife's getting annoyed now that, come on, we're going for lunch.
Did she see it? Did she see it at all?
She's to the left, so she can't see to the right of the car, so she couldn't see a thing.
Yeah.
Okay. But when we got to the house, it was only about another mile, maybe a little bit further, another mile up the road, her parents' house. I got out of the car and I just stood there now and I'm pointing at it. But again, she's not interested. Okay?
Yeah.
That is what people are like with this topic. Okay. People, experiences will tell you, they point out things to lots of other people. And unless they've got a real interest in this topic, which a lot of people haven't. Okay. They live their normal lives and they're not interested. And they think people like us are nuts. Okay. But they just can't see them. That's my conclusion. They just can't see him. So they, I don't know why I see him. I haven't got a clue. I don't get any messages from these things. I don't really get, what benefits do I get apart from I get a crazy intuition? They give that, whether that's just me, because maybe lots of people get crazy intuitions. I don't know, but I get the feeling that is some sort of gift that I've been given. I'm allowed to speak to certain people. I get to speak to the top people in the subject. For some reason, people like Hal Putoff chat to me on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Nobody else gets, not very few people in this topic get to even speak to somebody like Hal Putoff. But is it because of this? I don't know. Is it because he's seen my images and he knows to take me seriously? I don't know. I don't know what the reason is, but I'm lucky I do get to speak to certain people. But that was the end of that one. And, I saw that disc and then
Do you think there's a, because they reckon that the sighting spiked when you're talking about the World War II. They reckon there's a bit of a link with the Germans with the craft they reverse engineered and things like that. They were trying
the Foo Fighters as well.
Yeah.
So that is basically a Foo Fighter as far as I'm concerned. They describe that.
Yeah.
Forget the right hand side. Like I say, that's camera shake. But if you picture the whole of it like that, that's a Foo Fighter, and it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Modern ufology released that in 1947 with Kenneth Arnold's sighting in Washington State in America. But they say activity went up after the Hiroshima, after the atom bomb was detonated.
Nuclear warfare.
There seemed to be more activity with
COVID now.
With the visitors sort of.
Probably a little known fact is that Roswell was where Enola Gay set off from.
Is it?
With the bomb.
That's where it set off.
Yeah, it didn't actually have the bomb. It picked the bomb up.
Ah, right, yeah. That's where it flew from, wasn't it?
At an island in the Pacific.
So there's a link.
There's a link from Area 51.
Yeah. Because like Project Blue Book, and obviously the guy who was doing the job to debunk everything ended up coming out and saying, look, I believe it's real.
But there was UFO activity before the Second World War, before the First
World
World War.
Yeah.
But
it's in ancient
reports,
religion pictures.
Yeah.
There's like UFO objects in the paintings from bloody,
The Romans have described shields, flying shields that broke up a battle.
Yeah.
So we're talking thousands of years ago. These things broke up a battle.
Yeah. But modern ufology released that in 1947 when people started studying it, and recording it as potential visitors. Flying saucers, the term was called.
So John has just left. He's had a lot to talk about, doesn't he?
A lot of experiences.
He's had a lot of experiences. I mean, there's people out there who, and I always thought to myself, like, why can't I have an experience? But it just don't work like that. No. Like, you think to yourself, how amazing would it be to witness something coming down like that? And I think the government have done their bit to try and ridicule people, haven't they, for talking about it.
With the media's help, the
media,
little green men.
Yeah, exactly. Mars. They try to.
Where this little green men go? I haven't seen. Well, very very few
that have said
somebody who saw a green alien.
It's all to try and ridicule it, isn't it? Bring that a bit closer.
This little green man came from science fiction in the 50s, probably.
Yeah, I mean that's what they do, though. They try and take something that they're trying to cover up, or they don't know about it. So, because that guy who came out from, was it the one what was the one in America? Was it San Francisco one? He mentioned it just now. John did. Is it the one where they all had a mass sighting?
Phoenix,
Arizona. Now, the mayor came out and ridiculed it, didn't he? And then he's come on later on.
He's regretted that. He came on dressed as an alien. He's regretted that now. And
he said that he did witness it himself now.
Yeah.
So it makes you think when these people in a position of power have got people, they're obviously, and this is what I tell people with voting people in, doesn't matter who you vote in, there's people running the show who tell the ones who are voted in, this is what you say. Yeah. So he obviously saw it, and they obviously said to him, you ridiculous, or...
Well, it's a stigma behind ufology. Yeah. If you say you come out and say something, or you've seen something, you look at a lot of the comments, it's just like people ripping.
Yeah. It will be a while before that stigma goes, I think, but I think we're going in the right direction with the Pentagon files coming out, and
that's another thing.
Media talking about it more in a serious way rather than.
Why hasn't there been as much of an uproar about the Pentagon coming out and saying, "Oh, we've recovered otherworldly craft"? It's like being brushed under the carpet, as if, we've talked about it, but we're not going to push it across every news platform. Why?
Well, the Pentagon are doing stuff, but when you look at what UK are doing, they just
nothing. No, the UK are always up the arse of the Americans, and they wait for the Americans to do something, or then we'll do it, or if America go to war, or we'll go with. Do you know what I mean? It's the UK are just a little shadow of America.
They like to follow rather than...
There's no leadership in the UK. There's no leadership at all, is there, with a lot of the decisions that are made. It's always just, we'll just follow suit. That's all it is. But, that's what they've done. They followed suit with, UFO sightings. Just ridiculed it, really. So... There's so many sightings, you see, because you hear people saying when I talk about it, they're like, "Oh, how come it's only in America?" I'm like, it's not. People seeing stuff all over the world, but you're not hearing about it.
We do got a database in Wales, and the amount of sightings we've got, we got like over 1,500.
Yeah.
Well, we've got about written up. We've got over 1,100 now.
Yeah.
On our website, and that's just Wales.
It's not a coincidence. Like, you just want to know what it is, don't you? Like, what is it? Like, first thing people think is they think, right, these little aliens running around. And it's like, no, it could be anything. Yeah. It could be electric energy. It could be, but it's something intelligent.
But one explanation doesn't cover the whole film.
No.
I think it's a multiple.
It's a mixture of things like.
Yeah.
But it's definitely, there's another guy who I can't remember his name. He looks a bit like Bob Lazar, American guy who talks a lot about it. And he talks about communicating with them through, and
Stephen Greer.
Stephen Greer.
That's him.
Greer.
That's him. Like, what's your take on him?
Contentious issues there.
He's
a strange one.
Doing everything for money.
Out there character who's just trying to make a buck. Like,
he started off this thing that they call CE5 protocol, where you sit down, you play like some tones, and you meditate.
Yeah.
For a period of time.
You send the power of thoughts very powerful.
Yeah, it's what's it called? Telepathic communications.
Nothing new. I mean, the Christian Church have done it for millennia.
Yeah.
You know, when you pray to God,
you're
sending your thoughts out to God, dimensional or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just it's the same sort of thing, really. The power of thought.
Because I remember watched a documentary on his thing, and he was making out that what he was doing was so groundbreaking. And I watched the documentary, and I was like, mate, that's not groundbreaking. You haven't showed anything. Yeah. But he was saying like, oh, this is going to change and you get to the end, you're like, that didn't show anything.
No. He has done some good stuff in the past. He did the
disclosure thing,
congressional hearings and stuff.
Yeah.
That was 20 years ago now.
Yeah. We do, well, I do use we use like crop circle tones.
Yeah.
And I've probably used them about 10 times we do sky watches.
Yeah.
I'd say out of 5 times I've had things happen literally within a minute or two.
Is it?
Literally a minute. You know, this has happened like 4 or 5 times.
Is it?
I mean,
so
quite quick.
You were talking earlier about the sound waves making patterns.
Yeah.
It's a vibration, isn't it? Sound in an atmosphere.
Yeah.
And it goes into mathematics as well, doesn't it? Which is
it does,
universal language, and I don't know what it is about those tones. Those tones are recorded sounds recorded from inside a crop circle. which had formed.
So they will picking up sound frequencies
inside the crop circle,
vibrations in there.
And those recordings now are freely available on the internet now, so you can record it and replay it during a CE5 protocol.
Yeah.
When you're sitting there meditating. Maybe the sound sort of does shift your vibrational level in the consciousness, really, to sort of link in.
It's bound to, because that's something that they say a lot with, and it's hard to pinpoint what it is, but there is a high pitched frequency thing when you smoke DMT. It gives you a vibration frequency sound.
Yeah.
And maybe that is what it is that disconnects you from consciousness then.
So, yes, this vibrational sound does come in with... we've done paranormal... like we did that thing in Markham Castle, didn't we?
Yeah.
And they do say sometimes during an experience you will hear a sort of a high-pitched...
Is it? It's mad, isn't it? Like, what's going on? Like...
We did a sort of like a show in the panel in Markham, and doing it like we were sort of like down, all congregated together doing like a ghost watch thing.
Yeah.
And we say talking to her, and it says, "Oh, can you do something to Emlyn? You know, let him know you're here.
Yeah.
Poke him or do something similar." What happened?
Yeah, I had a ringing in my ear.
Is it?
Yeah, which never got normally.
That's mad, isn't it?
It was only literally after
we left the room and then went back to normal. Yeah, we went for tea, didn't we? And then we went back to normal, and then we went out again into the corridors in the dark, and it started again.
Weird.
Just something that...
But you kept going like that with you, because it's like trying to figure out
what's going on, like... Yeah, it makes you think, you know, with things like... there's loads of people I speak to, and they all say, like, yeah, I've seen something, a ghost or something like that. And then the same people will say, oh, I don't believe in UFOs. I'm like, how can you believe in that and then not? So it makes you think, though, with life, we can only see things as we are humans. We can only understand. We couldn't understand what living the life. We can try and imagine living the life of an ant.
Yeah.
But they're not like
aware of us.
Like when we go and step on them, we're like a natural disaster to them. They can't see we are humans doing our shit up here.
Well, they wouldn't even know we put our foot in them.
Yeah, they're like, oh my God, another natural disaster. A human is just, a big foot has come and just stepped on us. So they can't understand things the same as we are. We think we're so intelligent, but we're so trapped in our bodies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's try to be open-minded rather than closed-minded.
Yeah, we could just be a little speck. We look out at the universe of how big. I mean, we are a little speck.
Yeah, tiny.
That's one thing we can guarantee is we just think because we're quite big compared to insects and stuff that but we're not, are we?
Yeah, no, you can go back. What you said, people think, it only happens in America, but in Wales, we've had every phenomenon you could think of in the subject happening in Wales.
There's to be quite a few big cases and sightings in Wales.
Yeah.
Berwyn. There's a crash that happened in Llanilla,
which is near Aberystwyth.
Yeah.
God, there's been it's even in North Wales. There's a lot going on.
It's a lot going on, but people aren't talking about it, do they? Or they think how many people have seen stuff and they're afraid to come forward and say, I've seen something.
There's so many websites and so many groups on Facebook where you just go on there and see
people
the
can
comments.
go now.
People can go on there and say what they experienced, sometimes years ago.
Yeah.
Some get ridiculed, but depends what group you're on. Some groups do sort of attract the trolls, but But
this is where Sufon come in now, because we have people come into our meetings. They've never been to a meeting, not really to UFOs, but they've seen something.
Yeah.
They'll come in, they'll tell exactly what they saw. They're happy then because we didn't ridicule them.
Yeah, we're not laughing.
We're not laughing at them. We're taking it seriously.
Yeah.
And it's like a huge weight lifted off.
It's an experience that happened decades ago. They've kept it with them always.
Yeah.
They've just told close family, maybe, not taken seriously, perhaps. Won't tell it to people in work because they're ridiculing it. They come and tell us, get it recorded, and sometimes if they don't want the name mentioned in the report, which we put on our website, we leave the name off, keep them anonymous.
Yeah.
And it's a weight off their minds. It's a bit like Steve says, it's like an AA meeting.
Yeah. Just go there. That's like a therapy session, like
Aliens Anonymous.
Like-minded people who are just because it's frustrating when you're trying to. And I've always wondered this: if you did have an alien encounter where it's like it's happened and you're trying to tell people and they're all telling you're nuts, how frustrating that would be.
Yeah,
it would be torture, wouldn't it?
There was one woman told us about a thing she saw in St. Thomas in 1969.
Yeah.
She saw what we describe as a grey alien looking at around a gatepost.
Oh my God. Like, who's going to believe that, isn't it?
14, you're scared of...
Oh my God.
She was brought up as a strict Catholic upbringing, and she took it that what she saw was a demon, not an alien. It's perception. It's your own beliefs come into it a lot of the times.
Well, it's gonna be scary, isn't it? I mean, I get myself now probably if I seen a grey peeping his head round the corner, like.
Yeah, obviously we've only got a word for it, but it stuck with her all. It made such a strong impression on her. She always remembered it.
It's stuck, yeah. It's things like that you go into. I mean, it's a traumatic thing. Yeah. Even now, you're talking about a child, like, but with our age, you're gonna get somebody. it's changing your reflection of what is reality.
Yeah.
Like it's not. You think this isn't possible.
Yeah.
It's gonna be traumatizing.
There's another one that is lived just down from the Black Mountains, and she had an episode. But she was in the garden. Was she in the garden? And there was a helicopter that was taken off.
Yes, in the garden. Yeah,
in the garden.
The Hangar Dog, the other side of the Black Mountain.
Is it?
Maybe there.
There was a helicopter.
Yeah, she said she was in the garden with her husband and her daughter, and the helicopter went over, and she saw the pilot, and he was smiling at her.
A yellow Sea King helicopter.
Yeah, and it sort of flew. It was only like about 100 foot up, and it flew over the garden from these woods one way. And then she said that when she told us about it later on, what she said was later on she talked about it with her husband, and he said, "Oh no, it was going the other way." And then she spoke to her daughter, and the daughter thought, "Did that happen?" I thought it was a dream. But when we went to the garden was completely covered in trees. And there's a power line as well. There's no way a helicopter could have flown over there.
It's like in the middle of a valley where both sides is just covered with woods.
Do you think it was like created like an illusion?
It's like a sort of screen memory where what they saw
wasn't they painted something else in.
It was something else which wasn't a helicopter. I mean, Jonathan mentioned a fake helicopter, didn't he? Maybe that thing that was sort of disappeared and then it reappeared in Gowerton direction and then came back again. And this kept happening over and over. Maybe it wasn't a helicopter. It was like
it's they're trying to say this is what you're seeing is the helicopter.
It's a bit like with a hypnotist can influence your perception.
Mind control. Like
you're not eating an apple. You're not eating an onion. You're eating an apple, and to you it's an apple. But it's actually an onion. That sort of thing, sort of power of suggestion.
Yeah.
Also, if you've got the sound of a helicopter, you think it's a helicopter because you've got the sound of a helicopter.
Yeah, and we've met a few witnesses now who've said that they saw a helicopter, but it couldn't have been a helicopter.
Yeah.
Me and Steve went to see a woman in Trackline.
Yeah.
Not far from here. And she had one experience where she said there was a helicopter hovering right outside her window when she was living in Penlan, I think. This is quite a few years ago when her kids were little.
Yeah.
This helicopter was hovering right outside the window, shining a light in, but there was no sound. And with a helicopter, it'd be
you're gonna hear it like
a bit like Steve as well.
Steve Balsamo,
yeah.
What's that?
You know Steve Balsamo, he's like a local famous musician.
No.
I know he won't mind us telling us because he's come out about it.
Yeah.
So the M4 motorway was closed and he was travelling back from Cardiff back to Swansea and he was diverted down a side road.
Yeah.
I can't remember where it was, but it was in the Vale Glamorgan Bridgend area. And he saw this blue light hovering around the field and flitting about. He pulled the car over and he got out of the car and he was looking at it. There was no sound at all. And it was just this blue light moving about. And he was like gobsmacked by that. And then a taxi pulled up behind him. And the taxi driver said, did he stop the taxi? He said, whoa. And
what's this?
The driver said, look at this. He said, what's the matter? He said, what's that? Oh, it's only a helicopter. And as soon as the taxi guy said it was a helicopter, Steve's perception shifted and he heard the sound. You could see the rotor blades.
What?
It became a helicopter.
That's so weird.
So whatever part of his brain which hadn't been infected or influenced, it switched into that mode.
It's like the guy just said, and it prompted him like,
what's that? It's just a helicopter.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, yeah, it is.
It's like a screen memory showing
that's
you a helicopter.
so weird.
So you know what?
It just makes you think, well, how much control have they got? Like,
yeah, and you have reports of people seeing something in the sky in broad daylight in a crowded area, but no, like there weren't any other witnesses. Only that one person. Was that one person suffering from a hallucination?
Yeah.
Or was this thing just meant for them? Like everybody else's brain had sort of switched out or been.
Makes you think, doesn't it? What do you think is the most intriguing sighting case? The most intriguing, like
we've got 1,100 to choose from. one of the best.
Just a few.
One of the best was 1965, when they were building Singleton Hospital. Right? There's a guy called Howard Middleton Jones. At the time, he was 18. His dad was the groundsman for the King George V playing fields across the road.
Yeah.
And he lived in the pavilion building upstairs. He had his bedroom was upstairs. He was sitting in his bedroom doing his homework because he was doing his A-levels, I think, at the time. And something attracted his attention. He looked out the window across the road of Sketty Lane, which then was just a lane. You know the road that goes from Mumbles Road up the hill towards Sketty past the hospital?
Yeah.
Well, that was just a single road then. It wasn't a dual carriageway.
Yeah.
And he said over the hospital, which was being built at the time, all the lights were flashing on and off in the hospital, all different floors, different rooms, just flashing off randomly. And you could see then above the building, the main big building, there was a huge object about the size of the building, which is about a good 1,000 feet across, shaped like a disc or a cigar. Sometimes a disc
on the side, like,
it can appear like a cigar. Yeah, it was, to him, it was like a big cigar shape, and it was dark. It was blocking up the stars, just hovering just above the hospital. So he pegged it down the stairs out into the street. A couple of cars had stopped, and the drivers were looking at it. And as he looked at it, this big dark black object, a little green light appeared in the center, little speck, which then spread like a line across the middle of the object, this green light, and to the ends, and then he assumed it was the same as the other side. But as soon as it was complete, this line, the whole thing shuddered, and then went, gone. Click, gone.
Mad,
and then all the lights in the hospital returned to normal. They stopped going on and off. And where the thing had been, he couldn't see the stars still. But then gradually, over a few moments, they
could see it disappear.
They sort of reappeared then, as if it dematerialized, but not completely.
Yeah,
it took a little bit of time.
Takes a bit of time just to disappear, like.
And there was no sound at all, was there?
No.
It's mad, isn't it? It is. It makes you think. Like, you know, people say, "Is this a what's it called? Simulation?"
Yeah.
Is it a simulation and we are in a computer? Not so much a computer like that, obviously. It would have to be a lot more. But when you see these things, are they like doing tasks, keeping everything in the simulation going? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. We also got one from early 60s with a woman going onto a craft that had landed.
Oh yeah. Oh, that was just.
What's that?
That was just down the road from here. I don't know if you made it public where you live. Have you?
What? Yeah. Well, I'm in Swansea. I'm in Birch Grove. Yeah,
that'll do.
That's all right.
Well,
I haven't got any fans knocking the door down.
Well, literally, this is 1966. So I was just down the road in Annisvogan.
Yeah.
Now, where the motorway crosses the valley there, by the Annisvogan roundabout. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is before that was built, and a young couple. They hadn't been married yet. About 18 years old. They'd been out in the car for the evening, and they were coming back, and he was living with his mother. His girlfriend was staying with him, I think, at the time.
Yeah.
He was just about to put the car away in the garage down this little lane near the Swansea Canal that was there. And all he can remember is this big craft hovering over the railway viaduct which crosses the valley there.
Yeah.
Which was literally just above them. And all he can remember, this big craft with lights all the way around it. And after that, his next memory is putting the car away in the garage, which was, it was away from the house. It was down a little lane.
Yeah.
You know, there's like these tin shed type garages, you know. But his girlfriend, she could remember more. She could remember the craft being on the ground or just above it. And there were steps coming from the open doorway, which was lit.
Yeah.
And each step had its own lights. And there was a being, which she described being like a grey alien, standing in the doorway and more or less telling her to come up. And she had no control of herself. She walked up the steps. Then she could remember lying on a metal table. And there were other aliens in the room.
Mm.
The next memory then was being with the boyfriend, putting the car away. And when he got home, back to his mother's that night, his mother was up waiting for him because he had to be home by 11 p.m. because he had work the next morning. She told him, make sure you're home at 11. And she said, where have you been? It's doing late it is. And he said, well, it's only 11 o'clock. He said, no, it's gone 12. So it's missing time.
Yeah.
It's a classic one. 1966 as well, which is very early for Britain for abduction story.
Are they still about?
I was just down literally a mile from where we are now.
Are they still around though?
Yeah, I know them, yeah.
Would they come on and have a chat about it?
No.
They wouldn't, would they?
No, they don't want any limelight.
They don't want
She
anything.
was telling us about it because they come to our meetings.
It's a shame, innit?
They used to come to our meetings a lot.
Because this is what would really captivate people into listening.
Well, I managed to get the story out of her because we found out about it through a third party who knew him, right?
Yeah.
And this third party was at our meeting and he told us this story about this guy he used to work with.
Yeah.
We'd only just started then, before you joined, wasn't it?
Yeah, before I joined, yeah.
We were in the meetings and this guy was telling me about this story that he'd heard.
Yeah.
Some bloke in work with him. And he told me the story. I was like, oh, that's amazing. On the craft, it's quite early in the 60s. And and this guy turned around and he said, you're not going to believe this, but that guy was just telling him about, he's over there.
Shut up.
He was sitting in the corner.
Oh my God.
And I looked at him and I went, what? I said his name. I'm not meant to say his name. I said, what?
Yeah.
I said, yeah, I can't believe it. I've known this guy for a few years.
Are you serious? So you knew him, like?
Yeah, I knew him from another activity outside UFO.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe that. Anyway, later on, we were talking to his missus because this couple, they did get married and they're still together now and they're in their 70s now. And I said to her, come on, tell us the story. So she sat down, she told us the story. And she said, what do you want to know for? I said, we want to write it down.
Yeah.
This is an amazing story. And he said, oh, she was just really blasé.
Yeah. It's just one of those things.
It just happened, yeah.
Yeah, and they probably just like, we're just better off forgetting about it.
Have you thought of finding a hypnotist and getting sort of regressed? And she said, well, she said her husband does hypnotism.
Her husband does?
Yeah, he does it as like a sideline, sort of like getting people to give up smoking, that sort of thing, But it never occurred to them to do it themselves.
To do with that, like.
So we've got to get it done, I think.
You got to. I mean, I know it can be thing for them talking about it, but I think it just takes a bit of courage, doesn't it? To just come out, and because it brings more people out, like.
You could go under hypnotism, but you've got to be ready for what comes out because it might not be that good.
You don't know, do you?
We have met a few witnesses who are sort of in their 30s or 40s. They've got a young family.
Yeah.
Understandably, they don't want to get it out because the kids are in school. They could be ridiculous.
Yeah, that's understandable.
If you're elderly and your kids are grown up and moved away, and think as you get older, you tend to not give a shit anymore.
Yeah, this is why you find so many people coming out.
They might go on camera.
This is why you get so many people coming out later on, though, is they think, I've got to get this off my chest and try and tell people before it's too late.
Yeah, we did have you heard of the Broadhaven Primary School in West Wales?
I think so. All the kids were outside and seen it.
The Welsh Triangle.
Yeah.
There's a lot happening in Pembrokeshire in 1977. Well, to mark the 40th anniversary of all that, we organised a conference down in Broadhaven.
Yeah.
In the village hall, right next to the school.
Yeah.
The following day, because I stayed down there overnight, the following day I was walking on the beach with the dog and the missus, and the phone went, and there was a guy from Neath Abbey in his 80s who was who told me about a story, an experience he had in 1947.
Is it?
Or 1948, when he was 5.
Yeah.
In school. Again, this is a funny coincidence because it's to do with the
school. So he was one of them?
No, this is completely different. It wasn't 1977.
It was in the 40s, right?
The only way I mentioned that it was Broadhaven is because it was involved with primary school.
Yeah.
And it was a coincidence because I was at Broadhaven when he phoned me up. But anyway,
that is a coincidence. So.
The story, 1948 in school, he was leaving, he was out in the yard, playtime.
Yeah.
And there was a huge bus-sized disc, silver disc, about 100 foot up, hovering above the school. And it was at an angle like that. And it was a bit like, where you described it, it's a bit like an alloy wheel.
Yeah.
with large spokes.
Yeah.
And you could see light through the spokes. And
Is
it was like this big alloy wheel in the sky, about the size of a bus. And he said he's always remembered it all his life, and he's always maintained the story and his told the family and that. And he asked the teacher, "What's that, miss?" And she looked up at it, and she said, "Oh, I don't know. Go in."
Yeah.
So she must have been obviously not wanting to frighten the kids. Oh my God! You know,
Yeah.
I don't know that. It's 9:48. You wouldn't know what it was, would you?
Runs and leaves the kids there. Like, see you later.
There was no science fiction films then. TV
No.
wasn't around.
Oh,
it was just the radio and cinema.
Oh my
1948.
God.
There weren't even science fiction films in
Yeah.
1948 in the cinema, were there?
Well, this is why when people
what
see
she
these
thought it must have been.
sightings, they must be thinking to themselves, like we've seen loads of stuff in films. You know, it's all computer generated. It's made our imaginations go wild.
Yeah.
But back then, seeing something like that, it would freak you out even
And
more than it would us.
And again, it's 1948, and it's just down the road from where we are now. Instead of Annisfogan, it's Neath Abbey.
Yeah.
It's Neath Abbey Infant School.
That's crazy.
It's unbelievable what goes on.
So
in
has
our
it?
area.
Is he in contact with anybody else who saw it in school with him?
Oh, I did ask him that because me and Steve went to his house.
I suppose when you're talking about primary schools a long time ago.
I mean, I did go to the records office and I managed to get the logbook from the school.
Yeah.
For that time, and I got a list of the names of the teachers, which are probably obviously they're all dead now.
Yeah.
It's just a shame it wasn't followed up then, because
it just makes you think, doesn't it?
It was round about the time of Roswell, all that stuff happened in America. You know, Kenneth Arnold and the Roswell crash, and
well, you look at.
But it was here in Wales.
Yeah, they reckon there's a stone, don't they, from the Roswell with like a crop circle marking on it. Have you seen that?
No, I don't think I have. No.
They reckon there was a stone recovered and it's got this chiseled out markings on it that looks like one of the crop circles that have been seen.
All right.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what they said, but they said the stone, because they tried saying that was a crashed bloody weather balloon, didn't they?
Yeah.
You know, it was all announced. You know, we found a craft all on the radio.
And then the US Air Force came out years later to say that what they found was a crashed a test dummy which had been chucked out of a plane.
Yeah, it was just a piece of foil, like
a dummy.
Did you see they were looking at it when and you could see it was like, oh, nobody's gonna think that. It just makes you think like.
But that Roswell incident is very similar to what happened in Wales in 1982.
Is it?
Mike mentioned Llanilla up by Aberystwyth.
What happened there then?
Woke up just like Roswell. A farmer woke up in the morning and his farm was covered in material, pieces of metal, debris.
Shit.
And it was a wood next to him, Forestry Commission, conifers, and all the tops of the trees were broken. Something had hit it,
gone through the top
lost
of it.
loads of material from its body.
Yeah.
There's debris everywhere, and flew off. There's a guy called Gary Rowe from North Wales who investigated it at the time. He managed to get a piece of this.
Yeah.
And he's kept it.
Has he?
Even though he was on the way there on his second visit, I think. And the farmer said, they've come and taken all the debris now. The MOD or whoever.
Yeah.
And they've taken the forest down as well. And Gary was bringing metal detectors down as well. He said, they've taken 6 inches of topsoil away as well.
So they've completely just wiped everything.
Yeah. But there was no sign of anything.
But he said, don't worry, I've kept you a piece. And this farmer gave him a piece that big.
What's it like?
It's like a honeycomb effect, multi-layers. There's a big metallic element to it, which Gary did get analysed.
He got it tested, and we also got it tested as well, because we had some in key rings.
Yeah.
Yeah, what he did was, just in case it goes missing,
he kept some, like...
The test part, the bit that he chopped off for testing, he chopped that up into 100 tiny pieces and put them in key rings
Is it?
And he's been giving them to different people.
So they've got pieces of it. Is it? Would he come on and talk or not?
He lives in North Wales, but he could do a.
He could do a Zoom.
He's not really does Zoom. He's come down to Swansea to give us.
Is
a
it?
talk. Yeah. His
It'd
talk
be interesting. See,
he
the more people you get in on, the more.
We went to his house and we did a video interview with him in the house, which is online. It's on YouTube on our channel, and he also came to our meeting room and give us a talk. And he brought the case with him with the piece in it.
That's just mad, isn't it?
If you want to check it out,
I'll check it out. And it's on your just to tell people what it's on.
Swansea UFO Network YouTube.
Yeah.
Find them all in there.
So get on there, check it out. But I'd love to get some of these on and really like.
Well, we had sent the metal off to Jacques Valley, and via Kevin Nolan.
Jacques Valley.
Yeah.
And he had it tested, and there was man-made materials in it, or elements.
Yeah.
But it was made on a subatomic level, which is something we can't do.
So when you explain that, subatomic, atomic.
I don't have the clue. But it's something that we can't do.
It's something that we can't do.
At the time, years ago, Gary consulted an aeronautics engineer.
Yeah.
And she told him that for the amount of material that had been lost by this object, it shouldn't have carried on flying if it had been an aircraft.
It was scattered over about 2-3 fields, all his bits.
Yeah. A bit like Roswell, where the rancher found all this material on his land in New Mexico.
Yeah.
It's just like that.
And they've just come and taken it like...
But there were no dead aliens, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, yeah. They would have come and taken that straight away, wouldn't they? Shit,
yeah. And that was in Wales.
That's crazy.
Yeah, no sign of anything.
Nothing, like, you don't hear nothing.
The plane hitting the... if he'd lost that much stuff, you'd have seen the... gouge marks.
Was there anything else said about the incident where something hit one of the fans? The windmills?
Oh, I think that was because...
what was that?
They'd gone...
Too quick.
Quick, and they sort of disintegrated.
That was the Sun newspaper, that was.
I was going to say, I can't remember hearing anything about that.
But I remember that being in the paper about, a UFO, but I don't think it actually was.
No, it was just...
We're talking a good...
It just broken apart, like...
Yeah, because the brake system had failed, and it just...
Oh my God, it just carried on going, like...
Yeah.
There's so many... Any other ones...
Well, it's, around the Gower. I think Gower and Swansea, there's so many sites.
There's so many, like, you're talking about that guy recovering a piece, though. That's a big...
Yeah.
That's a big deal, like.
Yeah, he doesn't keep it at home either. He keeps it in a lock and key somewhere. With security looking after it.
Need to. Especially if the government finds out you got it, like.
Like say, going back into Swansea Gower, there's so many sightings out in the coast.
Yeah.
And you got UFOs, but you've also got USOs.
Yeah.
So underwater, submersible.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing.
So remember the guy from Port Talbot we went to see?
We had so many things have come out. We've had interviewed people that have seen stuff coming out of the sea.
Yeah.
Barry in Port Talbot, he was fishing off.
That's Barry in Port Talbot,
not Port Talbot from Barry.
There's a guy called Barry.
Yeah.
He was fishing.
And he was fishing in Port Talbot, not Barry.
At Aberystwyth Beach.
Yeah.
It was about 2:00 in the morning.
When was this?
September last year.
September last year. And they were just fishing away, pitch black. Next thing, something shot out in the sea. I think it was white and then went to red.
He saw a white glow in the sea, and then he saw a red light appear. And he thought it was a boat. Somebody turned or somebody turned the red light on.
Yeah. And that shot, it sort of hung about, then shot off in the sky.
Just straight up.
And we posted that.
And he watched it going off into space because it was a clear sky, all stars were.
It just went straight.
He just watched it go until it disappeared.
And we did an interview with him. We put it online, and within a day, two other guys said, "Yeah, I saw exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
We were fishing down the."
Yeah, and Barry said that there were other fishermen. It was at low tide. They were right down the beach.
Yeah,
and he can remember. He heard other guys saying, "Oh, look at that!" At the time. So
yeah, but they saw exactly the same what he saw. So it's a corroborated his story.
Well, it's these Tic Tac things. They see in it this like the water. It's churning up the water, and there's something in the water, and it's hovering above erratically, innit?
I think about 2 years ago, we had a video sent by a couple of fishermen who were down West Wales. They didn't want to say exactly where they were fishing, but there were steep cliffs behind them.
Near Fishguard, wasn't it?
Because it is one of the little secret
one of their spots, like.
But they were fishing at night, and they could see there's a bright white light under the water.
Yeah.
And they thought, oh, yeah, it's divers down there doing night diving. Next thing you know, this thing comes out of the water, sort of goes up, hovers in the air. These guys are filming it, and they're like, what the fuck is this? And you could hear that they're panicking in their voices. They said, no, don't bloody call it. It'll come over. And it sort of came, and then that shot off in the air. But they were watching this light under the water for a while.
Yeah.
They couldn't work it out, and then it came up, and then poof.
What about that one? It didn't actually come out of the water, but it was over the water. 10B. Remember that one?
What's that one?
Yeah. This was 2001, something like that. I think 2000. The lady that told us about it, at the time she was like about 20 years old, with a group of friends, girls and boys. They'd been out to a club in Penally. Yeah. They were walking back home to Tenby along the beach. Do you know South Beach in Tenby?
Yes, yeah.
It's the big beach.
I've been up there, I've been up there. I've done a lot of fishing up there.
By Kiln Park Holiday Park.
Yeah.
The dunes.
Yeah.
So they said, oh, let's go for a swim. It was about 2 o'clock in the morning, right, in the summer. And they all went for a swim in the sea, except this one girl she's the one that told us about it. She decided not to fancy swimming, so she just sat in the dunes watching them, and she could hear them it was dark, but she could hear them laughing and shouting in the water. And all of a sudden, a white light appeared in the sky, like a big bright star, and all of a sudden, a big white beam shone down like a cone.
Yeah.
And lit up a huge circle on the beach. Half of it was in the water, and half of it was on the beach. And where she was in the dunes, she was just outside this lit up circle. Yeah. Got all this light shining down, you know. And the friends would have been right in the centre of this lit area. She could see the sea.
They weren't there, like.
But they were not there.
They're gone.
It was all quiet. Because
what?
Before that, she could hear them laughing and shouting and that. And then it's like quiet, and they weren't there.
What the hell?
And this went off for minutes, and she started to panic. And shit, what am I going to do? Like,
where they gone? Like,
and then all of a sudden the light went off.
Could you hear them
and
again?
And then they were there again.
What the hell?
And then this white light then went over the sea in a zigzag, like that,
towards Gower.
Towards the Gower, right? And then I think she said it shot off into space. I think.
It's like the Truman Show. Have you seen that?
She went down.
When they shine the light, like when he goes missing in it, and they look him with the light, like, where's he gone?
So her friends came out to see, and she went down. Oh my God, did you see the light? Where did you go? And they went, oh, what are you on about? They didn't see it at all. They didn't see it.
No, anything's going on.
And she's still in touch with them now, and she asked one of them, oh, do you remember that night? Because I asked her, can you get in touch with them? And you know. So she did that, and then she came back to me. She said, oh, yeah, I mentioned it, but I mentioned it to her, and she said, oh, yeah, that was the night we all got abducted, you know, like...
Taking the piss, like...
Because they got no recollection.
They just don't know, like... It just makes you think, though, doesn't it? Like how they've got control over our minds. And
again, Tenby, Wales. It's all happening in Wales.
Yeah, there's a lot. Seems to be a lot, doesn't it?
It's... Is it back in the 90s that Brian Harry's driving through Brecon?
Oh, yeah.
He comes on by Cray Reservoir.
Again, it was not over the sea, but it was over Cray Reservoir.
Yeah.
There's a
Brecon Beacons.
Big, huge, orange, yellow orb just hovering over the...
1991.
The reservoir. Next thing you know, there's about 4 or 5 cool orbs, smaller orbs, came out of it. And it was like attached by a
filament.
A filament of like energy. Yeah. Say energy.
Yeah. So it was like a big hand, if you like a big like a big round thing with like fingers coming off. With a big ball on each end, you know. Hovering over the reservoir.
I think the cattle were making the sheep.
The sheep weren't bothered by it at all.
They weren't bothered.
The whole area was lit up like day.
What?
And said he could feel a tingling, like a static charge. He had a feeling that he was doing something with the water, whether it was drawing water off or energy off the water. Or he was driving a truck back from someone. A friend of his came with him, who was a policeman off duty, and they got out of the truck and they stood there looking at it, didn't they?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, he just disappeared, and there was like a ripple of light went across the landscape from where it had been when it disappeared, and then it all went dark.
It's just, I'm dying to see something like that.
Steve Drewson's managed to track down this guy's friend who was a policeman. He's now a headmaster in a primary school.
Yeah.
And he told him the story, and it was exactly the same as what Brian had told him.
Yeah.
And they seen it different times.
No, they were together.
They were both together. It's just mad, isn't it?
This was he was
early 90s.
It was 30 years ago this year.
Yeah. It's one of those things because I'm like, before I die, I want to know the truth, right? I want to know. But we're probably not going to ever know.
The way I look at things is, you try too hard to look. If you're not looking, and if you wanted to see, you won't see. But if you're just standing there looking up, all of a sudden you will see something like, whoa.
Yeah.
But if you're trying too hard, it's all right.
All the witnesses that we meet, they were all in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
It's just one of those.
It's important to get it recorded.
But we've had some cracking sightings ourselves. Like I say, what I mentioned earlier, doing sky watches.
Yeah.
There's one on Kevin Bryn.
Yeah.
The three of us, we hadn't hold a sky watch. It was myself and Emlyn down by the Stone Ken, and Steve and about 3 or 4 others were up by the car park.
Yeah.
It's on Kevin Bryn and Goa.
Yeah.
I literally done a couple of minutes C5 meditation thing to ask for things to be seen. We're standing there chatting, and I said, "What? Look at that!" And we turned around, and both of us saw 3 to 4 lights, white lights, moving about, coming over like that, and it looked like 3 white orbs.
Yeah.
These 4 white orbs. One was dancing about.
They roll in a line. Dancing about.
Well, one was sort of moving from the back one, but when it went over, it was only 3 lights rather than 4.
But they were to me, they were like a line of lights moving sideways.
Is it?
They were flashing on off, sort of pulsing a bit, but it wasn't an aircraft.
It was literally a couple of 100 feet above our heads.
That's the thing. See, you just think to yourself, "Come here, come in it though."
We found out later on, though, 15 minutes before, somebody reported seeing exactly the same thing in Pembroke Dock.
Yeah,
and it came from that direction. So, and then later on, it was reported up in the Brighton Beacons.
So it was being seen on quite a wide scale,
But it sort of flew over us by us, and then sort of banked out to sea.
Yeah,
but. Researched that for days on end after. Got in touch with glider clubs because there's no sound and it was just no navigation lights.
Yeah.
And we tried looking at every different thing.
One possibility was it was some sort of military drone, these big glider type things.
Yeah.
But flying so low over the landscape at night, I don't know.
We heard, because I used to live there, I live in Bishopston, where you're from the airport, you hear planes going over, you hear gliders.
Yeah.
With a glider going over, you'd hear
it.
The weight goes through it. It was nothing.
It's probably not the safe thing to do is go gliding in the night though either.
But the rest of the guys, they were up in the car park about a quarter of a mile away from us. They saw it as well.
It went over their heads.
And he had a camera. He had a camera on his tripod. I said to him, "Did you take a photograph?" And he said, "No, I didn't think it was on the tripod." He said, "You could still lifted it up."
I know. The thing is, you go into shock. Takes a few seconds to right, hang on a minute, what am I seeing?
Yeah. You're more interested in what you're looking at.
Well, yeah, you're just fixated, didn't you? Because that's what happened with me when I saw that thing. I was like, takes a few seconds to actually God, don't look right. What the hell is that? And then you've lost 10, 15 seconds.
But you're wasting time looking in your pocket because
you're
not looking at what's going on.
Yeah, you don't want to take your eye off it either. It is mad. It's one of those things. I mean, I love talking about it. And I always have, like, even as a kid, I was like fascinated, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Steven Spielberg knows a lot more
They used
than he lets on.
They used quite a bit of actual sightings during
that
film.
Yeah, they did. They worked alongside the guy from Project Blue Book,
Jack Vallee as well.
He gave a lot of the information.
Hynek, J. Allen Hynek.
Yeah,
and Jack Vallee was in it as well.
Yeah.
That's a good.
It was well researched.
No, he wasn't in it. No, there was a French guy playing him.
There was somebody who played him, wasn't there?
The Hynek was there. He was the guy with the pipe looking at it.
Yeah. It is fascinating, and hopefully, I mean, what are you thinking? Any ideas on what they're going to talk about with the next release from the Pentagon?
Well, it is a drip feed where they're coming out with stuff all the time.
There's lots of bits.
One of the reasons they reckon they haven't sort of admitted to it, they don't want to create panic,
but they don't mind creating a panic for COVID.
No,
do you know what I mean? So it's.
Well, when you think about it, if they suddenly came out, we've been lying to you since the 1940s.
I think everybody knows they're constantly lying to us anyway.
We got no control of our own airspace. These things come in willy-nilly as and when they want. They're doing stuff to the population. Like they're taking them and doing sort of lab experiments on them and bringing them back. There's a hybridization program where they're taking fetuses from... They're making women pregnant.
Yeah.
Implanting it. Then they come back a bit later, they take the fetus away.
Oh, fuck.
COVID's fuck all compared to that.
Exactly.
Plus, you got
animal mutilations.
I was going to say cattle mutilations.
I mean,
human mutilations.
Harvesting genetic material from the farmland. I'm vegan. The way I see it is what we do into the animals is bad enough.
Yeah.
But if aliens are coming down and cutting bits off of them when they're still alive, and there's not nothing nice either. But
yeah, I mean, the problem you've got with humans is, and this is what worries me, is when the government do finally come out and tell us that they are, or the aliens are here, I can't help but think, right, you've reverse engineered a craft and now you're going to use that to manipulate everybody the same way they want to use it in wars for their own selfish reasons.
Yeah, the old thing about, the aliens are here and they're a threat. We've got to put billions of money.
Exactly.
Billions and billions into developing a defense program.
They're well known for...
to manipulate money.
The US Space Command is the start of it.
It's all to manipulate us. If
Space Force.
That's what worries me, is when you hear something legitimately from the government or plastered all over the news, that's not the real narrative they want. So it's like, right, you were trying to manipulate and scare people now.
Yeah, the ETs have been here for thousands of years.
Yeah.
If they wanted to take the planet over, they would have done it before.
Before
we had military capability, before we had nuclear weapons, which they've got no. The ETs seem to have a control of the nuclear weapons.
They shut them down, didn't they? The missiles.
And they've switched them on.
Yeah.
Switch them on.
They've switched them on and then switched them off again.
Yeah. So there's,
to cause panic.
Well, this is the thing, though. It's it seems to be, and that's what I said earlier, they show up on a lot of like convenient times where these power-hungry people are trying to push people into wars using nuclear weapons. Now, with COVID, we're seeing a lot of these alien sightings around this particular time of COVID.
I don't know. I can't connect it to that.
No?
No, it was...
You're seeing a lot of people talking. I know you're saying they've always happened, but I suppose you're talking social media as well, though.
Yeah,
you're seeing a lot more stuff because of social media. But I've noticed a big spike in the amount of stuff I'm seeing while this is going on. Because I've always been on the lookout for stuff, but you've had to dig for it.
There've always been waves of activity, like flaps, they call them, isn't it? Like West Wales, 1977, Bonnie Bridge in Scotland, and
well, we got
Yorkshire.
like the Triangles, 83.
And Wiltshire, the Warminster thing in the 60s, all in Wiltshire.
Yeah.
And that's just this country.
Yeah.
There's the Belgian wave in the 90s with the big, huge triangles.
Yeah.
It's always happening.
Like,
hotspots.
Don't you find it mad how it's still classed as like a myth when there's been so many people seeing this stuff for so long?
Yeah.
And it's still thought of as a myth.
There's more evidence for ET visitation than there is for religion.
Of course it is. There's people who've actually seen stuff.
Do people who go to church every Sunday worshipping a spiritual being that nobody can see?
Exactly.
Do they get ridiculed? They don't get ridiculed.
No.
But there's normal people who have seen extraordinary things. Oh, I saw such and such last night, and I saw it was a being standing in my bedroom, or I got taken on board a craft. They go,
yeah. But then they're going down to church and praying to a God they haven't met.
I'm knocking people's beliefs.
No. I mean, it's
but people get knocked for seeing actual real things. It's
faith at the end of the day. I do believe religion is a massive cause of a lot of the division that it's used as a tool against you. It really, religion is, they use it to turn you against other religions.
It's a power system that we've had for 2,000 years.
I do believe that we could be more peaceful without religion if we all were on the same wavelength, but you'll never get world peace, will you?
God, no.
You're never going to get that. You're never going to get it, and you realise this when you're online with people. You realise it goes down an avenue of like they'll argue even though they know they're in the wrong. They'll say, you'd be like, "That's blue. That's not blue. It is. It's blue.
Yeah,
no, it's not."
We've all got our own beliefs, and we've all worked things out for ourselves. Ways. We're all sheep. We follow different flocks.
Yeah, we all run on an energy level or a frequency, and our frequencies change. When I say this, you can meet somebody and be the worst of enemies, but you may have met on a wavelength where you didn't see eye to eye, and then that will carry through. Then you'll always hate each other. But if you met when you were both on the same frequency,
it's like dogs.
Yeah,
dogs. You walk with your dog, and there's another one coming forward. Dogs have never met each other before in their life. All of a sudden, they're hammer and tongs at each other.
Yeah.
And then the other dogs, you can walk along and they just walk past.
Yeah.
That's all that about.
Yeah.
Why? It's like as if
I find like the way we are programmed from nature, and it's a fascinating thing. You don't hear people really talking about, but like say now, for instance, you get like a bird hatches from the egg, gets fed, and then eventually grows his feathers and flies the nest. Or you'll get like an elephant, it'll get born, and a few seconds is standing up, and it's the turtles, when they hatch, the sea turtles, they hatch and they automatically make their way down to the beach. They know what to do. It's programmed into our DNA. That's far beyond comprehension. That is these things have got hatched from an egg. They've got no life experience. They know what to do.
They just know get up. Whoop,
how
where to go?
How like
bizarre. Like they don't know. You don't know about sitting there or waiting. They just get up, burrow out, and off they go down the sea.
It's something that's way beyond understanding.
Yeah.
That is programmed into your body. You know what to do. But humans seem less like that, don't they? They not so instantly, like it takes a long time for us to get mobile, moving. Yeah. Humans take a bit more nurturing, like.
Well, again, a baby, it's got no self-awareness.
Exactly.
It knows what to do. It knows how to breastfeed.
Yeah. It knows to instantly go to the toilet.
It cries because that's the signal, feed me, look after me. And then the woman's maternal instinct switched on, that she's got to be cared for,
Yeah.
So even humans...
It's there with humans, but it's not so. But then humans progress to a different state of consciousness than these animals do, in a sense. I mean, it's not to say the animals aren't experiencing this. They're experiencing a completely different state of consciousness where everything is on edge. So they're looking for predators.
Survival,
So they're looking for food. But like with humans, the weird thing is, like, we aren't designed to be like this, like we are now. We're supposed to be out hunting, gathering, fighting off predators. That's what we're supposed to be doing.
But we still got those instincts, flight or fight.
Yeah, flight or fight.
And thing about women can multitask, men can't.
Yeah,
right?
That's true.
Women can multitask because thousands of years ago, millions of years ago, they were looking after the baby.
Yeah.
While doing.
Don't say the dishes. Don't say the.
No, they were looking after the baby, doing things to feed it, whatever.
Yeah.
And be aware of danger at the same time.
Yeah.
So your mind's in two places. Right?
Yeah.
But the man, going off, throwing sticks at animals.
Yeah.
We got more spatial awareness,
Yeah.
I'm going to get in trouble now.
Spatial awareness.
There's a common thing that women haven't got spatial awareness. Oh, they've got the spatial awareness in a woman isn't as good as a man. Okay.
Yeah.
You get some. You can't generalize. But thing about parking cars, parallel
parking cars. Yeah. Back in the day, when they had cars in the Flintstones. I know what you mean. It's
throwing spears and things. You got to judge distance, isn't it? It's inbred in the. Inbred in the DNA. Then
the thing we carry in our DNA, and they reckon that's where phobias come from. Is from being passed down snakes. From like generations where spiders or heights or these are things that have happened to people in their families years ago.
A spider will trigger an emotion, but keep away,
and it's in your DNA to be like
it's living in the tropics. Spiders could be poisonous.
It just makes you think where we've all originated from, and then you talk about the things like the Egyptian, the pyramids and the hieroglyphics and the meanings behind it. And I don't know if you've looked into that, where they look at the third eye. They reckon it's the pineal gland, and there's a lot of you just think to yourself, these people were like, you couldn't do that stuff with the technology we've got now.
Yeah,
they can't explain it. They like tried to figure out how they could do it with our equipment now, and they'd struggle. These things are so big, like.
Well, yeah. It's like Stonehenge, isn't it? Stonehenge, they reckon the stones are actually from Wales.
The blue stones are,
yeah.
Which are the smaller ones. So they're about like 6 foot tall. So they weigh between a ton and 3 ton.
Yeah.
But the big Sarsens is something like 60 ton, but they haven't located where they've come from yet.
Yeah.
They don't know where the quarry is, but.
Like where
it's more local, that is, but the blue stones they found out was originally a big stone circle in the Preseli Mountains.
Yeah,
not just quarried there, but there was actually a circle of stones.
Yeah,
and they were moved from there to Wiltshire, to Salisbury Plain, and erected there before the big Sarsen stones were put up.
Yeah. Like, what was the meaning behind it then?
It makes you wonder how the hell they knew bloody...
How did they do it? 150 miles?
How did they get it there?
Like Stonehenge.
Yeah.
Existed because they're like, a few hundred miles away, and there's no telephone system there or letter system.
It's that weird thing as well, where you see a lot of the pyramid shapes popping up in all different places around the world when there was no communication that we know of. Yeah. So how would, what is that distinct shape?
Did you know there was a pyramid in Gardland Fife?
In where?
Gardland Fife.
Where's that?
You with the Welsh pronunciation.
Where's that?
Garden de Fife.
Garden de Fife.
He's a Garden Fife. Garden Fife.
Garden de Fife. It's in the hills up in the above Newport area.
Yeah.
Abersan, is it? that area.
Yeah.
Near Cumbraen. And they reckon there's a pyramid in the ground there, buried. Some workmen, it's a housing estate now, but some workmen uncovered the top of the pyramid, which was a lead plate.
With over the top of it.
With engravings on it.
Which
was weighed in, unfortunately.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
But they started digging down.
It was getting bigger and bigger.
It was getting bigger and bigger, but it was a definite pyramid shape.
So why haven't they unearthed this then?
Because it's in a housing estate now.
You'd think they would have offered. You think they would have offered them money though?
It's an eye-shaped roundabout. Let's talk about eyes.
Yeah.
In this house, 1960s built housing estate, guarantee 5. Yeah.
Like that needs to be unearthed.
But there's footage.
You need to look into
of the guys who were digging the hole, and they were talking about what they were finding. You know, just a lead sheet put over the top.
They should have contacted the archaeologist at the time.
Yeah.
Gilmorgan Gwent archaeological.
They probably would have bought them a bloody new house somewhere out the way and just, there's history there that we need to unearth, because it's so weird how these pyramid things, the Chichen Itza, and I mean they're all over the place.
Yeah.
But there's obviously something between these pyramid shapes on these magnetic field.
Well, it goes into
spots.
It goes into the legend of Atlantis, doesn't it? That this lost continent of Atlantis. The survivors, when it was lost below the waves.
Yeah.
Some went west, some went east, and the ones that went west then became the Aztecs, and the ones that went east became the Egyptians.
And they built the
Even
pyramids.
though the Aztecs were a lot later than the Egyptians, but there's
it just makes you think,
evidence
doesn't
that China pyramids as well, which are now gone.
Yeah.
And the jungles in
Cambodia.
Yeah.
God, there's so many places.
Bosnia as well, no?
Mexico.
You just think to yourself, like how you'd love to know, to be able to watch the history back, innit? Watch it back,
you could go back in time.
Because I don't believe what these scientists are telling us, and these I don't believe what they seem to be. They've already got loads of stuff wrong to do with the pyramids, about the age of them and the water corrosion on the outsides, and you're thinking to yourself, they were telling you so positively that years ago. And now it's like, it's like
about the Sphinx? Is that the erosion on the Sphinx?
The erosion of the water.
They reckon the Sphinx is a lot older than the pyramids.
Yeah.
And a lot older than what they think it is.
Well, yeah, a lot older, like.
Yeah. And then they used to rain there, obviously, because you got the corrosion.
Yeah.
They got climate change. The Sahara
Ice cream van.
Mr. Whippy.
I know, piss off, mate. Well, we're trying to do a podcast, but No, I really appreciate you coming on, boys, and I'm look forward to doing a few more episodes, because there's so many subjects, so many sightings, so many stories to talk about. Yeah. I'd love to be able to get somebody on as well who you saying, as if you know somebody, put the feelers out if they'd be willing to come on and have a chat, because I think the more people get to hear about these things, the more sort of comfortable other people feel coming out talking about them. What stuff have you got planned? Have you got anything planned in the future now? You've got this place in Swansea.
Yeah, we've started our monthly meetings again after the COVID lockdown.
Yeah.
So first Thursday of every month.
Yeah.
8 p.m. in the new lodge in Gorsainan.
Yeah.
It's on top of Alexandra Road. And it's a monthly meeting where it's like a conference where we have a guest speaker.
Yeah.
We talk. And admission's free.
Yeah.
Just ask for donations. There's an honesty box by the door. And we've never had anything nicked yet, so it's good.
I was going to say, are there any honest people left in the world? I don't know.
It's a big room, loads of space for social distancing if you need to.
You've got a bar, so you can buy food and drinks.
Guest steaming. DMT, I'll bring a DMT.
And you can watch a quality talk with slides or video from somebody in the field or other witnesses.
Yeah.
And if you've got any sightings get online. We're on Facebook. We've got email. There's a website.
So give them the information for the website.
www.sufon.co.uk. There's a contacts page in there with all the phone numbers and everything they need.
Yeah.
You can send or submit a sighting that you've had via that way as well.
There's a submissions page.
Yeah.
Or you can just email it or phone up. And confidentiality guaranteed if you need it. If you don't want your name put out, it's fine. What we want is your stories.
Yeah. If you do want to come on, you can contact as well. I'll get you on the podcast if you've had a sighting. Obviously, if you're gonna make a stupid story up that's not believable, then I will be scratching my head questioning it.
We've also setting up our own studio office sort of study site in High Street Arcade upstairs, and we will be offering the service of hypnotism.
Yeah.
For people to be hypnotized, if you've got missing time and you want to get to the bottom of it, come to us and we can organise a regression.
Who does the hypnosis and that? Then is it?
We've got our sort of resident hypnotist.
Yeah,
who's long standing in the field, who can do it, and again that would be a good new venture for us because we've never actually. Done that
gone
before.
Into that side of it.
6 times setting it up and find out who can do it. We've got somebody who can do it now.
Yeah.
And we've got
that's going to be interesting.
I've sort of penciled in for this. First.
That's going to be interesting.
Jonathan might could do it because he's got the missing time.
Yeah.
He'd
be a good one.
I know he doesn't want to do it because he's the case of it might uncover stuff that will freak him out, and he doesn't want to.
Some people have told us that,
road.
but one guy who's up for it now. At first, he didn't want to do it, but now he wants to do it.
Yeah, it's worth it though. I mean, now I'm somebody who I'm a very curious person, so that's why I've tried the DMT. I want to. I'm so curious. The finding out is better than the not knowing.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
Like, if that was me and I'd had an experience, I'd be like, right, get me under. I want to find out what happened.
Yeah.
But some people don't want to know. No, they're like, I don't want to know.
Yeah. You've got to be quite strong-minded and know that.
Yeah, you really could unearth something.
You don't.
That could. Don't want to know about. Especially when you're dealing with something like a subject like that.
Yeah.
Because it's some people would find it hard to accept it when something shatters your reality.
Yeah.
Your beliefs.
It leads me around to quite often you'll see comments, I want to be abducted. It's a big fun. And I'm thinking, well, you really don't want to be saying that because unless you get abducted, you really don't know what it's like. And it's quite traumatic for a lot of people.
I mean, that's what that Travis Walt said. He said, now I don't know, Travis Walter, is it?
Walton.
Oh, Walton. Yeah, but I was thinking, I knew it was Walton, and I was thinking, it's not Walter, is it? No, Travis Walton. Yeah. His incident, he said about, you need to understand how traumatic this experience was.
Yeah. It is. It's, we know quite...
It's going to be, isn't it?
We know quite a lot of abductees.
I saw him at a conference give a talk, and I met him after. And,
did you?
Yeah, lately there's been stories coming out that he was all fake.
They're trying to deface it, like.
Yeah, it's fake, but it might be a hoax. But again,
you don't know, do you?
You don't know, 50-50.
You could cleanest cut case ever, right? You're always going to have somebody who's going to come out and try and debunk it. Yeah, You've just got these people who just think their intelligence is way beyond.
He's a very quiet guy, very, very lovely bloke.
Yeah.
Very quiet, not sensational at all.
No.
Again, he's just a
normal
guy
bloke
experiencing an extraordinary thing.
Yeah.
And that is basically what a lot of people are.
Yeah.
They're normal
They're going to be normal people.
That just experience something.
Yeah. He was a working guy out in the woods, chopping trees down.
Yeah.
With a crew. and his life changed for the worse.
Yeah.
You know, why would he make that up when he know what shit's
No,
going on,
everything went. Plus, the guys he was with were arrested for bloody. They thought they killed him. They thought they killed him and hid the body.
Yeah.
So, you know.
He went missing for 5 days.
What he did say as well, the film that was made
wasn't a true reflection.
Sensationalize it.
Yeah.
Like the bit on the craft where the aliens and that was nothing like what.
Yeah, he said, and he said there was like a human sort of figure there, wasn't it? Like,
and he met other abductees as well.
Yeah,
which has come up. I met an abductee up in North Wales who I interviewed, and he said when he was on the craft, there were 2 girls there. One was from Blackburn, I think, or Lancashire, and the other one's from Birmingham. So you managed to talk to these girls
who were on the ship. Yeah, he said something about there was somebody on.
Well, there was other people in North Wales. This was. It was different, completely different.
That's fucking crazy.
But it's not the only. You know, we've talked to abductees, and other abductees have said similar things. You know, a lot of them do.
There's similarities,
similarities to their accounts
in the stories.
It's like along the same path rather than sound as if it's way out there. You know,
yeah,
it's very similar.
Oh, it is. It is so interesting, and you just want to know, don't you? But you're just never gonna know.
Yeah.
You're never gonna know. I always thought, by the time we get older, we'll know if there's other life out there and that. But I've come to the acceptance of I know there's other life out there. Yeah. You'd be stupid to think there's not. You know, you'd be stupid to think there isn't another planet in this infinite structure of galaxies, and you'd be stupid to think there isn't other life just because we can't access it and see it.
The other thing that go along with that is, okay, how do we don't know how many are man-made and how many aren't.
Well, exactly.
So it's a case of like, it's hard to, unless you know for definite, which you don't.
No,
it's hard to put them in a man-made bracket or ET bracket. You just don't know.
You just don't know. You know, if you got a microscope and you zoomed in on us now from, imagine how big this goes. Like it goes so big that we can't comprehend and see it. But you zoom in with like a microscope and you look at us. We could just be. Like, to us, everything seems like a physical thing. We could just be a moment of a reaction, of a chemical reaction that to us seems to last years.
Yeah.
But really, it only lasts a
short amount of
micromillisecond. Do you know what I mean? But to us, this reaction now is life.
Yeah. Like, so you look how long life is, the Earth has been livable.
Exactly, yeah.
Compared to how long it was there.
Yeah.
You're talking millions and millions of years.
Yeah.
You know?
It is a strange...
all of a sudden now, from 1900s to what we are now, the amount of technology has changed in that 100 years. It's quite shocking.
Oh, God, yeah. We have been alive for the biggest change in human technology. You know, this is where everything is... Up until the 40s, 50s, everything was flat. And then it's just gone, bang, colour TVs, flat screens. Like, look how thin that TV is on the wall.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Mobile phones, you know, like all sorts. Chips.
Yeah.
You know, as in microchips.
Just unthinkable. You know, being able to Zoom call people on your... It was unheard of.
20 years ago.
And that's all been within a space of, 2 decades.
Yeah.
Things have just gone off the charts. So what's to come?
Yeah.
What is to come, like. But hopefully we're going to find out. And
it's all leaving me behind. I'm still using maps.
I'm using...
Talk about maps. We had a talk to do up in Cambridgetown.
Yeah.
We thought, right, we'll head down to Rendlesham, stay there the night, do the trail, and,
yeah,
what it's all about. So anyway, we're driving around Rendlesham. He pulls out a map, And you're looking at this map. It's like from 1950s, isn't it? It's 1950s map.
Oh my
God! The
God.
roads are exactly the same.
Yeah. I love my maps.
Oh no!
Ordnance
Get the
survey.
GoPro on, man. Get the GoPro on.
Sat navs.
So
I do use my phone now with a map.
you got to, man.
I do.
You got to move with the times, mate.
It's so funny driving around using a map from like
I
the
haven't got a
60s.
sat nav, but I use my phone on the holder. You know, I
Google.
just put those postcode in, directions. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I always refer to my map as well because I like to know where I am in context. You
Yeah.
know? 'Cause people use.
I just use I use the
People use the sat nav.
iMaps thing.
But they got no knowledge of where it is they go in. They just follow it
Yeah.
blindly.
Yeah.
You know, they don't know where they are.
That's me, that is.
But I like my maps.
I just need to know how to get there. I'll just follow the whole thing, and I won't know what direction.
You can open it out and Ordnance Survey. You can see there's a castle there. There's a stone circle.
You got to keep pulling in to do that, though.
As long as you're not in a rush, I'll do that.
Oh, I'm just like get to A to B as quick as possible. Like I want time travel to actually exist. I'd use it. I'd use it to get from A to B.
Yeah, absolutely.
But no, I appreciate you coming in, boys, and it's been a pleasure talking to you. And I look forward to, we'll get another one going, and we'll try and get some more stuff happening.
We could talk forever.
I know, but no, guys, this is Walsh happening, and it's been a pleasure having you in.
Yeah.
Thank you, boys.
And yourself.
And
Great to meet you.
It's been a pleasure, and I'm looking forward. I'll do a video. We'll come down and I'll get a video of your workplace in Swansea, and I'm hoping I can get down there Thursday now and
Thursday in the meeting and go sign, and you could video part of the meeting if you want.
Put some of that up in there, get a bit out there, innit? Yeah. But hopefully one day I'll be able to get an alien on here and I can interview him.
You never know.
Might be able to arrange that.
Yeah, try and get it going. But hey, thank you guys. It's been a pleasure. Walsh happening. Cheers guys.